Okay, okay. Hope if it's too much of a trouble, generally it's very personal to see someone. Otherwise, it becomes impersonal. So, um, anyways, we will. My apologies for the delay. We will begin by actually praying to the acharyas, the six Goswamis, so that we can actually hear properly, learn something, and hopefully something that is enlightening and purification for our own hearts. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकाय चक्षुरो उन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतः पदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपां साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितां तां सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य देवम श्री राधा कृष्ण पदान सहगना ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुण सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानु सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे तृणादपि सुनिचेना तरोरिवा सहिष्णुना अमानीना मानदेना कीर्तनीया सदा हरि. One should chant the holy names of the Lord in the humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street, more tolerant than the tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige. One should be ready to offer all respect to others and expect none in return. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy names of the Lord constantly. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत् नष्टप्रयेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी शृण्वतं स्वकथा कृष्णा पुण्यश्रवणा कीर्तनः हृदयंतस्थो है अभद्राणि विधुनोति श्रुहित सताम. So welcome all to this session of Bhakti Shastri course. Let me share my screen first. Um, which screen should I? Okay, as soon as I share. Share screen. Allow to share screen. Hopefully you see my screen.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, so now that I see the screen, I don't see.
You can't see us.
I can't see you all. This is the problem I face. problem I face. You still see my screen, right?
Yes.
So when I play slide, arrange view, play slideshow in window. I think this is what we have to do. Yes. Oh, wonderful. Now you can see the slides and I can still see you on my central screen.
All right.
Okay. So I'll move you to one screen and I have my slides there. Okay.
Can I just
Okay.
check something,
Got it.
Prabhu? Can I just check
Yes,
something?
Prabhuji.
If I raise
Yeah.
my hand, can you see it?
I can see it now. I can see the whole screen now. So I can see you
You
all
can
and I can see
you
your
can see
raised
my hand
hand.
if I
I
want to
can
ask a
see.
question.
Yes, I can see. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Because now today you all are on one screen and slideshow is on another screen, and you all can see the slideshow. Okay, so this is from the previous chapter, um, eighth chapter that we did, and so this is a very quick uh, to share your screen. You all can see the slideshow, right?
Not now,
Not
just
not
before.
right now. We see you only.
Not right now. Okay. You see me only. Okay. Allow to share window. Allow to share screen. I think it is screen. So I'll say share this entire screen. Now you
Okay, you
see.
can. Yes.
Now, now you can see slide. So wonderful. And you can also see me or not?
Yeah.
Yes,
Well, I
Prabhuji.
can see you in the corner.
Yes, you
Corner.
need
That
to, yeah, if you do like view side by side multi-speaker, then
multi speaker view.
then you can see most of us because we are only four. So
Okay. Okay, wonderful. I can see you all four now in this window.
Okay.
So coming back to this previous chapter, eighth chapter, um, what do you remember from the eighth chapter? Any memories of the eighth chapter?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead, Vijay Prabhu.
I think the key concept of chapter 8 was how we remember Krishna at the time of death, and
Wonderful,
we um, that depends on our consciousness throughout life, and
Hmm.
not thinking about Krishna only at the last stage of our life, but lifelong.
Wonderful. That
And
was the essence of eighth chapter.
yes,
Antakale cha mameva. You know, the shloka is Antakal at the time of that mameva smaran muktva kalevaram. How do I remember smaran? How do I remember muktva free kalevaram? Meaning kalevar means this body. So that shloka is extremely important. Those two, three shlokas are very, very important. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam. So yam yam tam tam verse, as my children would call it. यं यं वापि स्मरन् भावं त्यजते अन्तकलेवरं तां ताम् एवति कौन्तेय सदा तद्भाव भाविता. Hmm?
are these verses also reflected in the student handbook? If they're the three
Yes,
very
Prabhuji.
important,
Yes,
yeah,
Oh,
Prabhuji.
okay,
thank you, Vidishamalji. But you know, nonetheless, that those three verses of that eighth chapter, you know, the they should be always on top of our heads. Like even in sleep, someone asks us, or it should be second nature. Those three verses, because they are the guiding light of a devotee's life. So please take time to slowly go through them, memorize them. All of us should know them by heart. Thank you, Vijay Prabhu. Renesh Prabhu, Bidisha Mataji, do you remember, have any memory of the last chapter?
Y- yes, Prabhuji. I'll refer to my notes. Um,
Okay.
the text one of chapter 8 you mentioned is very important because the glories of recitation of the first two line, which was Kim Tad Brahma Kim Adhyatmam, Kim Karma Purushottama, that two line, And of course, it has Adibhutam Jakim Proktam, Adi Devam Kim Uchyate. And forget
Mm.
my pronunciation. So you gave the example of Bhava Sharma, um, and how he took birth after dying, took birth as a date palm tree
Yeah.
because he was a wretched Brahman. Then you gave example of two Brahma Rakshas, and you also mentioned that they are not ordinary beings or Rakshas because they are powerful Brahmins
Mm.
typically, but they were greedy, and the wife was asking this question to get rid of the suffering, like what's the knowledge of self and what are the fruitive
Yes.
activities. And
Mm.
immediately after asking these questions, they went back to Godhead, and Bhava Sharma got back his body and went to Haridwar and only
Mm.
chanted this two line. And you referred like that, I mean, like, not, I mean, like, whatever I could capture, Prabhuji,
Mm.
that how Srimad Bhagavatam explains that the supreme absolute truth is known as Brahman, Paramatma,
Mm-hmm.
and Bhagavan. And
Mm-hmm.
you also explained, you the chart that you have, like 5, 6 yellow color like sections, like 1 to 4 question answer and all you said. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you highlighted a little bit, but then you went in detail. You said like how Arjuna was inquiring questions to, he started from last 2 verses of chapter 7, and Lord Krishna answers 7 of them in the first 8.3 to 4, and the last question in the rest of the chapter. And he addressed Lord Krishna as Purushottama, and you mentioned there is
Mm.
a reason why he said that. That's the original authority, that he is the original authority free from all ignorance and passion. And he
Madhusudana.
also referred him as Madhusudana, killer of demon Madhu.
Mm.
Then you also talked about how we pronounce the word Brahma, Brahma, and again Brahman, Brahman,
Mm.
how the meaning changes. Like one is, like you said, Prabhupada mentions that when we say Brahma, he's the secondary he refers him as a secondary creator of the world, and Brahman, like order in human society, and the other is the soul. And again, forgive
Mm.
me my pronunciation. I was trying to listen how you pronounce it. It will take a while. Uh,
Mm.
Not immediately. And then there were like 8 questions, like what is Brahma, the soul, then the Adhyatma, our samskara, our impressions, then what is karma, and the fruitive activities of our soul. If it is not, if we are not engaged into servicing Lord in spiritual activities, how our body migrates from, how we migrate from one body to another. Then Adi Bhuta, you explain what does the Adi means. It means first or original. Deva means, or Virat Purusha is the universal nature of the Lord, divine. You explained Prakriti. Then you talked about Paramatma Krishna resides at Super Soul, Parabrahman, Super Soul, these terms. Um, and you said like how super soul is in every atom, gives property to
Mm.
matter. We
Mm.
have our own soul, and next to it is super soul. The impersonalists don't understand that. And
Mm.
soul is not the same quality as super soul. We have
Mm.
limited qualities, but super soul is unlimited and
Mm-hmm.
universal. And
Yep.
I think you had a trick question. I think there were 3 or 4. I think that there was one I remember, like, is Paramatma present everywhere, including spiritual world?
Mm.
And finally, we came to the conclusion, you helped us driving that, asking. So super soul is not present in the spiritual world because Krishna expands as a super soul. We need that because he sends his create us, with a small monitoring thing, just like parents do with the kids, is they
Mm.
try to guide them. So once with our good work and always with his mercy and services to him and surrender to him, when we are back to his place, we see Krishna. We don't need that super soul inside us. And the three levels of realizing Supreme, Paramatma, Brahman, and Bhagwan. And
Mm-hmm.
that famous, you talked about that famous verse like Antakale Chamam Eva Smaran Muktva Kalivaram, that
Mm-hmm.
whoever at the end of his life quits his body remembering Krishna, they will attain his nature, his destination, Vaikuntha, and there is never a doubt for that. And you asked us about memorizing that, as Prabhuji mentioned before also. Then there was another one, like always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna, and practice it. So that was,
Yes.
and you referred the book called from Rupa Goswami, Nectar of Devotion,
Mm-hmm.
because one who can practice and meditate with undeviated mind on Krishna, the supreme transcendental person, can attain him by constant thinking of him. And there were like 9 ways of remembering Krishna. And
Mm-hmm.
I have the words and all and the English meanings for those. I still have to understand it a little better. I remember the Nama Guna Rupa Leela, that part, but there were like other ones, like
Mm-hmm.
beginless, or he's the oldest, he's the control of everything, he's the smaller of the smallest, inconceivable. He is bright and luminous like sun. And those were there. Then you touched also the Sat Chakra Yoga. That
Mm-hmm.
is the requirements, the process, and the results, and the destination. Like whether he talks about, like you referred celibacy also.
Yes,
Um,
wonderful.
and the practice is essential for the students' advancement in spiritual life. That was there, but at the moment,
Mm.
in this current Kali Yuga, it's very different. Very few can attain that. And so the has changed. But you talked about how the social construction has changed. There is no recognized institutions where students can be educated in the right brahmachari principles and all that.
Yeah.
So it is a difficult way, especially those we are in Kali Yuga and full of impurities and material and lust and everything in our mind. So you talked
Mm.
about attaining Krishna is very easy by pure bhakti,
Mm-hmm.
without deviation of mind, the devotee who always remembers. So, and because of his constant engagement in devotional service and in every activity, remember him. We talked about like how difficult it is, and
Mm.
to remember him all the time, and how to do things, whether whatever we are doing, this is for you, this is for you, or this is Krishna's work and all. Um, and there is no rebirth for pure devotee in this temporary world. Um,
Wonderful. Wonderful.
then rebirth in all planets in except Krishna's abode, I think. Those who that part I have to ask you a little bit. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think it was in the verse between 14 to 16.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and then you explain Brahma's life, 4 yuga cycle is one yuga cycle, into 1,000 cycle is one day of Brahma.
Very
Uh,
long life.
yes, very, very long life. And you mentioned like how Brahma is a position when we ask, like, there are like uncountable earth and lokas and everything. So, and you mentioned how Brahma is a position and how Krishna evaluates who can be Brahma. And if he doesn't get the suitable person to play that role, he himself gets into that role. And
He incarnates. He
yeah,
incarnates.
okay. Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. Then you talked about Krishna's abode is attainable by Ananya Bhakti.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he said, like, who's an unalloyed and undeviating devotion. You highlighted that, you strengthened that because everything is situated with him.
Mm-hmm.
Then supremacy of bhakti in attaining Krishna. So there are different times of death, and what happens when somebody dies in the morning, um, and what happens when somebody dies in night. Um, so there are like for Gyanis and yogis, they have liberation. For karmis, like heaven, and after a certain period when merits expire, again return back. And
Yes,
uh,
yes.
and you said like how we can now, like we all of us in some point of life, all our friends have a question, where did this person go after death? And also the later part of this chapter 8, like the time of death and their role,
Hmm.
and whether they were serving Krishna and not, and what level of maturity they were, how it helps understanding where they might be going and not after
Yeah.
death. And then you explained very nicely to all of us, and that part you explained was so nice. It was about how devotional life can be onerous in the beginning and how it
Hmm.
can be full of love. It's a nectar at the end. And the stages of Shraddha, stage of Bhava Bhakti, you talked about the word anartha nivriti, that is removing all our unwanted desires of the heart, and how after the stage of Bhava Bhakti comes Prema Bhakti. And you said
Hmm.
Bhava Bhakti stage is also very, very long because it's very hard to remove all the unwanted desires of the heart. And it's continuous practice, and always situated our mind, activities, and everything in Krishna, reciting the valuable scriptures, association, um, gurus, all these things. So it helps dissolving these unwanted desires of the heart, and how difficult it is to remove even the last trace of greed, anger, and pride.
Hmm.
And we are not yet at that stage. We all are in different stages, but that portion you explained in very detail, and it was very nice, Prabhuji. I'm just trying to put in whatever little I could, so forgive me
Yes,
for that.
no problem. Thank
Hmm.
you so much for your summary. And my humble request is, for this chapter at least, ninth and 10th chapter, if you can follow. Usually, I have no problem with you making notes. I think it's a very good to do this. In devotional life, I used to also make notes, lots and lots of notes.
Oh,
But for this chapter, for ninth chapter, avoid making notes and try to be hearing more attentively,
all right, Prabhuji.
because when you actually make notes,
Mm,
then two of your senses, eyes and hands, and including your brain,
mm,
actually starts to, it doesn't get time to reflect and ponder, because you have engaged three of your most important senses in making notes.
understood.
But the actual ancient process of hearing was, someone would go down and sit down, and the speaker would be on an elevated platform, and especially
Mm,
underneath a tree, and the people would sit down, on a chatai, or some comfortable position, and they would just listen attentively. Unfortunately, people in our Kali Yuga have very short attention span. They can't listen. Immediately, there is a hunger that troubles, or if someone has eaten too much food, then there is a sleep which troubles. And if body has been exhausted, or if mind is or wandering everywhere, that is also a trouble. So people can't listen easily in Kali Yuga. But if someone can very attentively listen, then that is the topmost hearing. Those people who can't listen properly, fall asleep, or are too tired, or mind is too much wandering, for them it is recommended to make notes, because then they will channelize their mind in recollecting what was said and then writing it down. Does that make sense? Two levels of, so
understood.
making notes is very important, very nice. And if your body is troubling you, you should make notes. If your mind is troubling you, make notes while the class is going on. If your mind and bodies are not troubling you, and you are in a position to actually fresh out of your bed, sleep is complete, not tired. That's why this is on Sunday morning, right? Everyone's fresh, everyone's. So then try and hear completely, uh, and and then try and make notes after the session.
Understood, Prabhuji.
Because when you make notes after the session, what will happen? You will force yourself to uh, reflect what was being discussed, what was being taught, what stood out from your heart. What is one point? Like, I asked Vijay Prabhu what was discussed, and one thing that impacted him possibly, or he was forced to think about, is at the time of death. This is what it means to be a devotee. Who do I remember at the time of death? So he immediately mentioned, this is what I remember from chapter 8, which was, the most important element, that at the time of that, what do we remember? And that's the whole practice of a devotional life.
Mm-hmm.
So similarly, next session, I will ask you, what do you remember? And hopefully you would have made notes, no problem, but you would have made notes after the session, and they will come from your reflection. So
All
then
right.
that will test both your attentiveness, and it will also test your memory. If there is not so much memory, no problem, but at least you are attentive, certain things will stick out from your heart. Okay. Yes, Prabhuji.
I have a question about lifespan of Brahma. Is it
Yes.
important to remember his lifespan? I mean, I know we have the 4 cycles, and we have a kalpa, and his lifespan is, I think, 100 times one kalpa, and I think it's
Yes.
344.04 trillion.
So you already remember his lifespan.
Well, I'm not sure if it's no, but
It's
no,
it's not. It's You should just know the math, how you can reach that number. Um, but I'll tell you, it's important to understand the science and the logic, and try and remember the important things, important numbers, important things. Right now, the way you answered, you already remember the process of deriving.
I mean, I was reading before class. I'm not going to pretend I wasn't, but
Okay,
I
that's
wasn't
not a problem.
reading
But
it.
at
I
least
wasn't reading it from my computer. But it's like
okay,
those
okay.
are what. That's the most. I think that's the essence of this
Yeah,
chapter.
I don't
I
remember the exact number of Brahma's life myself, but I know the process of calculation.
Yeah, and I think I'm not quite sure. I think that Krishna is trying to show us the insignificance of human time, or something like that.
Um,
That's the reason, something like that. No,
no, Krishna, no, he doesn't want to tell us that it's insignificance of human time, because in spiritual world, time is not present.
yeah.
You know, I mentioned that. So really, the human life exists for experiences. If you really have a deep time with yourself and go back and look at your life so far, all you remember, all you recollect is all your experiences. So time is a real factor in the material world, and but the most important thing is your experience. If your experiences are not there yet, and you are having a desire to experience, you will take another birth. You will buy more time to go through that experience. To go through, a lot of people, um, maybe this is not the best example. A lot of people don't get married even though they wanted to get married, and so they have this desire for experiencing married life. So it doesn't get fulfilled. Doesn't matter. They will get one more lifetime, and in that lifetime they will have an opportunity again.
So, what is the significance of explaining the cycles of the samsara? No?
Yeah, so samsara chakra, the importance is to explain that, look, actually, one human lifetime is a blip in a vast expanse of infinity. the infinite time loop that is there.
Yes.
And really, you are stuck inside this time loop, chewing the chewed, repeated birth and death. Same things are repeating in every lifetime. So Krishna is trying to tell you that it's miserable. It's not your natural position. Natural position is you belong to infinity. You belong to space. You belong to place where there is no conception of time, where there is a conception of experience and fulfillment of the pleasures and desires of the Supreme. And along the same lines, when the Supreme feels experience and pleasures, you feel pleasure. Because at the end of the day, everyone wants to be in a Anandamayo Abhyasat, meaning everyone wants to be in happiness.
Yeah.
So,
And we
so
spoke about one more thing as well, if I
hmm.
remember correctly. We spoke about the rasas, didn't we? The um, five rasas, different types
Briefly,
of relationships with Krishna. Only
yeah,
briefly.
we very briefly touched upon them. We didn't go into details of any of those. So there are primary five rasas, and then there are secondary rasas, which I think 11 of them in total.
Okay. I know
So
some of the
we
five. That's it.
because so we didn't touch all of them is because that is not what the content of the Bhagavad Gita is focusing on at this point in
Okay.
time. Hmm. Okay, before we proceed, any other questions, any other suggestions, corrections, thoughts anyone has? Vidisha Madji, you said you had a question you wanted to ask.
Yes, Prabhuji, that was in chapter, I think it was about the Satchakra process.
Mm-hmm.
Little bit. Um,
Okay.
that part I have needed to understand that part little bit.
Okay. So you mean generally, or you have a very specific question?
No, generally, like,
Yeah, generally, there are chakras,
mm-hmm.
the chakras which start from the lowermost hole of the body, anus, until the uppermost point of the body, you know. So when a yogi comes out from the topmost chakra.
Okay.
And then this whole chakra, if you go in detail, then it explains how to elevate yourself through the different chakras, which is starting from the anus and moving towards nabhi, which is your belly button, and then keeps moving upward, neck and eyebrows, between the eyebrows, and then eventually the top portion of your head. And the process of chakras is difficult. You can feel those chakras if you get into them, but when you get engaged in chanting the holy name of the Lord, and when you get engaged in devotional service, where your mind is constantly attached to Krishna, you easily surpass these yogic states. They are not so much relevant to you anymore because you are in pure devotion. In fact, and now this is an extra information, there is a Patanjali Muni. All of this yoga that you see in the society, different types of yoga, hot yoga, this yoga, that yoga, they all come from Patanjali Sutras. The Patanjali Muni who first documented all of these yoga postures. So he wrote a book on the sutras, or sutra means formulae, and so he wrote all of these formulae, different postures and everything. And towards the very end of his book, of his formulae, he says that anyone who is doing kirtan of the Lord, anyone who is doing kirtan of the Lord doesn't need, is actually above all of these formulas, because they are actually all in the most elevated stage of yoga already. So here is the father of the modern day yoga, which the whole world likes, right? Everyone does yoga. Yoga Day, June 26th or something, is International Yoga Day. But actually, the founder of that yoga system, and then there have been other munis who mutated his knowledge, and then modern day there is liquor yoga, hot yoga, and all kinds of yoga exist. But what I'm telling you, if in its purest form, these physical postures, the yogas, the sat chakras, how to develop and elevate your sat chakras. And there are many, many societies in the world that teach you yoga, right? There is in India, there are so many very elevated saintly people who teach yogas. There is some Baba, then there is Art of Living, then there is Brahma Kumaris. There are so many people. Even in ISKCON, we teach yoga. It's important because for someone who has not even controlled the mind, then just doing some exercises first calms you down. It composes you and it allows you to focus the mind a little bit. When you're doing a posture, then you're focusing on the posture. So so it's a very beginning process. But the owner and the formulator of this whole process, Patanjali Muni, in his Patanjali Sutras, towards the very end, as part of the conclusion, he says that the Kirtan Yoga is the best, because the mind is completely absorbed in the Lord. The body also starts to dance when it's rejoicing in Kirtan, and that dance is very natural. It's not artificial. In a lot of the times we go to Kirtan melas, and there we see other opposite sex, and we see other people are dancing. Sometimes we see our friends are dancing, and sometimes we are in the mode of passion, and so we also start to dance because the music makes us dance. That is very different to be in a devotional state and being naturally, spontaneously being able to dance. That's extremely elevated state that we're speaking of. So Sat Chakra Yoga, there is it's a difficult process. I think in the slides, you will see what's the, in a very short format, you will see what's the process and what's the end result of the process. Not highly recommended for the modern day, but there is no harm in doing some yoga and all those things. Yes, Prabhuji, you have a question?
Yeah, if it's okay. Yeah, you're talking about these types of yoga. I mean, here in the community, I do yoga twice a week, but I do it for just to stay a bit flexible and a little bit fit.
Flexible. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it makes me feel better physically. Um,
200%.
and it's based mainly on asanas. But what
Hmm.
is really confusing, the amount of names you have for types of yoga is so confusing. I mean, already in the handbooks, it's confusing. And every week you come up with more, and it's so confusing. It just muddles me. Really, it does. You just
Hmm.
named another one. I thought, oh, not another one. I mean, honestly, I can't keep track of them. So that
Yeah.
makes it so confusing when, I mean, I've heard of Ashtanga yoga and Hatha yoga and
Iyengar
place,
yoga. Yeah.
yeah, Iyengar yoga and what's that place, Mysore, and then they have the pranayama, which is also part of a yoga. It's really
Hmm.
confusing, and then you see the student handbook, and then there's more types of yoga. You've got
Hmm.
karma yoga and goodness knows what. And then
Yeah.
even during this session, you named a different one, and last week as well. So why so
Hmm.
many? And
Hmm.
what does it mean in? I mean, in total. I mean, and then of course you have bhakti. So I
Hmm.
mean, I'm
Hmm.
just thinking, okay, it's a path, but and I'm not even
Yeah.
talking about all this beer yoga and all that nonsense. That's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
commercial rubbish. But it's really confusing every time
Yeah.
you name another one.
Yeah. So in simple terms, there is a path, and then there is a practice. So the problem is when the path and the practice have merged, you have people have coined up many terms. So if you take Iyengar yoga, Patanjali yoga, or whatever yoga, other yogas you have heard of, Hatha yoga, and all of those, they are practices. They are different types of practices. So they have created their own postures, their own process, and then there is a path of yoga. So path of yoga is like karma yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga, dhyana yoga. Under dhyana yoga, some of these practices come under dhyana yoga. Some of the practices come under jnana yoga. A jnani will have to follow certain practices or processes. So the problem is, you in your mind you have heard so many terms, and you have not seen their classical division as to how they are categorized. So category is around practices, processes, and then the path. So hatha yoga and all of those yoga, they they will, if you go and ask them, then they will say, yeah, this is a path. They will tell you this is a path. But in reality, if you then go to Iyengar yoga, they will also say this is a path. But actually, you see, the end goal of both the paths is body, mind, and soul. So the path is the same, but their actual practices are slightly different. But if you actually read Bhagavad Gita gives you this eightfold yoga system. It's the actual original ladder.
Ashtanga. Ashtanga?
Ashtanga being the lowermost part of it. So,
Ah, okay.
so Ashta means eight, and Anga means limbs of the yoga. So, of this yoga ladder, you have a natural progression from the lowermost, where you start with physical yoga, exercises and everything. Then you progress further to karma, then jnana, then dhyana, and then eventually to bhakti. But if you
Mm.
go to a Dhyana Yogi will point you to chapter 5, I think, or 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and say, actually, this is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Dhyana Yogi will tell you 6th chapter is the topmost chapter of Bhagavad Gita. A Jnana Yogi will tell you that, 5th chapter is the topmost chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And a Karma Yogi will tell you chapter 3 and 4 are the topmost chapters of Bhagavad Gita. If you speak to Bhakti Yogis, the Bhakti Yogis will tell you chapter 9 and 10, or the middle sections of Bhagavad Gita, are the topmost sections of Bhagavad Gita. And that is because Krishna also proclaims like that. And we will see that in this 9th and 10th chapter, that why Krishna is proclaiming like that. And then there is another yoga, which is people concocted yoga words like Raj Yoga, like Vidya Yoga. Then there is I don't know what all kinds of yoga there are. Some of them have some cultural roots. So
Some of them are related to names, people's names as well.
yeah, Bikram yoga.
Yeah.
Bikram yoga is what kind of yoga is that? This guy Vikram created some
Uh,
manipulations or
Iyengar is the same,
mutations.
no? Iyengar is
Pardon?
also
Iyengar is also
Iyengar
the
is
same. It's a name of a person. So he on
Patanjali also.
yeah, because Patanjali Muni wrote a book. It is Patanjali Sutras. So Patanjali also, but Patanjali is a Vedic scientist. So, whatever his sutras were analyzed, critiqued, and they were practiced for a long time. So that became authentic. Similarly, if you take Iyengar, if he was following Vedic practices, and if he was critiqued and all of his processes were taken into the entire Vedic community and stamped, then Iyengar would become a authentic Vedic practice, basically. But right now, possibly his practices are not critiqued, his practices have not been adopted to that wide level.
Okay, so basically, I'm just trying to think, how could this be said in two sentences in a nutshell? Is that there's practice, there's path,
Yeah,
and
there is practice and there is path, and there is some of them are cultural. They are cultural
okay,
in nature. And also to understand, it's the problem of for a lot of the people, and I'm not saying this is just problem of the people raised in Western ways of life, but problem of lot of the people is, can you tell me this in one word? Can you summarize this in one line? Can you
okay.
Vedic
I'm
system
sorry.
can't be Vedic system is not like that. It's very broad. And so
Mhm.
generally you have to open up with the broadness. And not everyone can do that because the brain is not designed like, or not trained like this. So what happens
Mine
is
definitely is not.
no, I'm just saying. So what happens is you have to first look at the student, and then you have to give them what they are capable of doing. So you give them one thing first. And when they actually grasp the one thing, then you show them, look, there is little bit extra here and little bit extra there. So then they become slightly more broader, you know. And then when
Mhm.
they are now, then they go through internal conflict of accepting something very different. Say for example, someone who is like a monotheist, if you're introducing them to a concept of pluralism, it's a very difficult jump for them. That from one god to many gods, it's a different conception. So they actually don't get it, or they will even revolt against this conception of many gods. Whether the concept of many gods is true or not is a separate question. But what we are saying is, from monotheism to pantheism to pluralism, these are different concepts. And so not everyone will be able to pick all of them together in one go. But with the Vedic system, and specifically with the Vedic knowledge, there is directly Krishna, the one single source. But then there is also Krishna himself in Bhagavad Gita says that he can be understood in many different ways. So not necessary that all people will actually get all of the ways. But as you progress on this path of bhakti, you will become broad. You will actually understand Krishna in all three aspects. Specifically Brahmeti, like Krishna is all pervading, Paramatmeti, that he is in my heart, and Bhagwan, that he is himself directly pure. But because bhakti yogis come directly to the temple, directly come in front of Krishna, and what to speak if they start doing devotional service and become attached to Krishna, then what about their Brahmeti and Paramatmeti? What about the realization about Brahman? What about the realization of Paramatma? If you're directly worshipping the Supreme Lord, it's not that the worshipper of the Supreme Lord Krishna, who worships directly the deities in the most personal form, would say, I don't believe in this Brahmeti and Paramatmeti. No, that's not the case. Slowly over a period of time, they get realizations that, okay, Krishna is also like this. Krishna is also
Okay.
within the heart.
So I don't want to take too long on this because we have a whole chapter
Okay.
to cover. But
Yes. Yeah.
so basically, what I've understood is that the goal of yoga is to attain Krishna, is to attain God, and
That's it.
the and that's it basically. But the people's understanding is different, and
Mm.
their understanding is different, so they take it step by step, and they take this type of yoga or that type of yoga before all of this commercialism started,
That's
and
right.
eventually they'll get to that platform, but it will take longer, or they might not. I don't know.
Yeah, that's up to them. It's an individual's choice, because yoga literally means union. Union with the someone will
The
say, some
supreme.
people will say union with God. Some will say union with the self, because they don't know union with what. Union means two. But
Yeah.
the problem is they are Advaitavadis, or they are always monotheists, or they're always about one. Mayavadis, monotheists, they're always about one. But when they speak of yoga, yoga means union. Union is what? Union means two. The problem is they have to understand the second side. And till the time they say union with the self, union with me, union with my mind, union with my body, they have not gotten it. They have not gotten the concept of union. Union means two different entities, not you yourself. So you have to really break it down from the root. And because they don't have that conception of the two, of the second person being different to us, but being at the same time we are part and parcels, so therefore they can't easily understand this word yoga, and so they have concocted so many different ways. But if you want to really understand, to read Patanjali Sutras, you will get it.
Oh, no, it's okay. I know I've heard it's a good book, but I've got enough with this, believe me.
Okay. Yes,
Thank
exactly.
you.
This is the most important essence that we are. So now, before I start ninth chapter, I want to say that so far what you have been studying in Bhagavad Gita, that is knowledge. Okay. So sometimes a teacher can try and give knowledge to students, but sometimes you are asked to asked to go on stage and explain certain things to people. So what you do, you prepare yourself, you prepare your speech, or you prepare your content, you go and you speak, right? But sometimes there are some natural orators or natural speakers or natural storytellers. They don't have to read so many books, because they've already read all of this and they know all of this story and everything. So they can just go and they can just speak and they can just explain and they can just do, because they have already done it for so many years. They are well practiced. Another level higher than these two levels is a level where person, they know which portions of the story or which portions of a book or which portions of the topics are deeper, more meaningful, and more more connected. So they can actually cross-reference the different things, and actually emotionally and from the feeling perspective, they can tell you something deeper, because they now have felt something, and because they have felt, they're able to tell you different things. So here I'm speaking of something who is just starting on this journey of conversation speaking. So they have to do a lot of studies and do things. And then second level is, they have studied it for many years, so they're able to easily explain. The third level is, where you have now studied so much and felt little bit. So third level is like you have felt, there has been some feeling, so you are now able to explain in a very connected fashion, in a deeper fashion. And then the fourth and the deepest level and the highest level is you speak from the heart. There is no any covering remaining, and you you love the persons in front of you, and so you're not holding back, you're just speaking directly from the heart, outpour of the heart. So what I'm about to say is that this ninth chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita is Krishna speaking directly from his heart. Krishna speaking directly from his heart. There is no, when you speak directly from the heart, then you tell things which might either hurt the other person, or they might be very confidential things, right? When you're speaking something directly from the heart to your own people, then it becomes, so when I speak to my mother, it is a different tone. When I speak to my friend, it is a different tone. When I speak to my boss, it is a different tone. Correct? So in second
Yeah,
chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Arjun already told Krishna that, look, I am your disciple, soul surrendered unto you. I'm confused, you guide me. So Arjun accepted Krishna as his teacher. So Krishna could have had a tone of a teacher, right? A guru and a disciple. But Krishna keeps
but
telling a, yeah.
Prabhu, I think what you're trying to do now is explain the word confidential. Is that correct?
Yes, confidential, but generally about this chapter also.
Yeah,
Uh,
because for me, the whole word confidential is different in my mind. Confidential is I'm going to tell something to someone that's kind of private.
yes, private, secret.
Yeah, and don't
It's
tell anyone else. That's what it
and
kind of,
it's
I mean,
like
to my understanding, to my understanding.
yes, yes, yes. It general connotation is a secret thing. Don't tell anyone. Um, but what I'm saying is, when you are speaking to someone, and the relationship with that person is not based on love, it's, like a boss, or a, a formal friend, not like a deep friend. So then you will actually not tell them everything, or you might not be able to tell them. You want to tell them, but it will not come out of your heart. See, when a speaker, when someone is giving a talk, then even in Srimad Bhagavatam, Parikshit Maharaj is actually extracting out the knowledge from Sukdev Goswami. So he is actually, because of his questioning, because of his deep, sincere listening, because of his attentiveness, because of his affection for the topic of hearing, he is actually asking questions which are going inside more deeper, and then Sukdev Goswami is now forced to answer these questions. And every time he is about to answer, he first glorifies Parikshit Maharaj, because he's asked him the topmost questions. So here also, the thing is that there is a relationship between Krishna and Arjuna, and that love of Krishna for Arjun, that love is actually coming out in this ninth chapter of Bhagavad Gita. The way Krishna responds, it's something like you give there, it's something like you go to someone's birthday party and you take a gift, a nice gift for them, right? You take something, like if they love chocolate cake, you take a chocolate cake. If they like perfumes, you take that. If they like handbag, you take that. But then imagine the same friend comes back to your birthday party in some months time, and they hand over to you their house, they hand over back to you their entire wealth, they hand over back to you their whole existence. This is disproportionate um, exchange. This is a disproportionate exchange. What I'm trying to say is that in this chapter, Krishna is doing disproportionate exchange with Arjun. And when I say disproportionate, actually, because I am limited, but Krishna is giving everything to Arjun in this chapter. Krishna is not speaking from his knowledge, which is unlimited. Krishna is not speaking for the knowledge of Arjun. Krishna is just speaking to Arjun as his friend and as is the most beloved. And what Krishna gives is disproportionate. He gives everything to Arjun in this chapter. So, of all of the 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, the 7 to 12 are the essence. And of these 7 to 12, the essence of the essence is now in this chapter. So that's why I'm going to take this chapter very slowly, because there is so many things in this. Even a one word missed from this chapter is a is greatest loss for the humankind, greatest loss for the soul. So if you someone can memorize this ninth chapter completely, that's the best. But if you recite it every day, that's even best. But if you can't, then at least the key verses. But I'll say you can memorize. So what is the Mahatma? This is the Lord Shiva telling to Mother Parvati. The ninth chapter of Gita is the king of all knowledge and the king of all secrets, as you were saying, Prabhu. Secrets. It's the king of secrets. There is no more secret bigger than this. It is most pure and gives direct realization of the supreme truth. Even one who is very sinful becomes righteous. From becoming sinful to sinless is one thing, but from becoming sinless to righteous is completely different ball game, because the person has to go through an evolution of journey to become righteous, because the tendency to sin remains even after you become sinless. So to giving up that whole tendency to sin is where you become righteous. So this chapter takes you from being sinful, very sinful, to become righteous by taking shelter of this chapter. By hearing or studying it with devotion, a person quickly attains pure bhakti and reaches the Supreme Lord's abode. Therefore, O Parvati, this chapter should always be honored and remembered. So this is the chapter that you should remember. And there is this story of um, a Brahman named Madhav. Madhav is a Brahman who was a very elevated, strict Brahman, and he was doing fire sacrifices, because in that age the process of worship was fire sacrifices. You know how they would do fire sacrifice? They will put an animal into the fire sacrifice, and that animal would get a human body, because this evolution of species takes very long time. But if an animal has an opportunity to be put into the fire, then immediately they get evolved into a human birth. So they can skip millennia after millennia, and they can just directly get human birth. Yes, Bidisha Mataji.
Uh, Prabhuji, that reminds me of the Ashwamedha yagnas that they used to do with the horses. This one you said,
Correct.
like the animal would get a human body. For the Ashwamedha
Yes.
yagnas, was that the same, or is it like they would
Yes,
get one?
Mataji.
Okay.
Yes, it was the same. So the animals you could put in were goat, horses, other animals, and
Mm.
depending of the intent of your yagya, someone would want a boy in the house. Someone would want to get rid of the diseases in the house. Say, for example, in this case, Madhava, he wanted to get rid of the diseases his son had. So his wife had recommended Durga worship and requested of the sacrifice of a goat to get rid of the diseases his boy had. Um, so different purposes and different intent, but the outcome for the animal was they would get a human birth. But that process is now gone. No one knows how to do these yajnas. So if someone is just killing animals in the Kali Yuga and saying, "Oh, this is a benefit, this is written in this Veda," they are all lying to you, because it's not, no brahmanas, qualified brahmanas do not exist for this yajna.
Understood.
The test of this yajna was the goat would go in and a human child or a human would come out.
Oh, understood.
Okay. So this it's impractical for this age. So here, this Brahman Madhava, he was doing this. His son was very ill. He had some disease. So his wife recommended go worship Mother Durga and do this goat sacrifice. And as soon as this person Madhava was about to sacrifice the goat started to laugh loudly. And Madhava was shocked. And all the Brahmanas there was assembled for the sacrifice. They were all shocked. So Madhava asked the goat, "Why are you laughing?" And the goat said that in my previous life, I was like you, offering goats in the sacrifices. and there is you are killing me now, and you are going to make my children fatherless, but you will also become like me, basically. So he explains this to Madhav that in the previous lifetime I also did this. I offered a goat in sacrifice, and one of the goats cursed me. While I was doing the goat sacrifice, the goat cursed me that you are making my children fatherless just for your own children. So next life you will become goat. So as soon as the king, that person Brahmana died, he became goat, and that same goat is now speaking to Madhava, telling him that this sacrifice that you're doing is not good at all. So then this goat goes on and speaks this story of Chandra Sharma. Uh, and Chandra Sharma was a great king, and he wanted to give in charity to a Brahman. So this king, he gave one Shudra, one very dark Shudra in charity to this Brahman. And this was not an ordinary Shudra. This was, as soon as this Shudra was donated in charity to this Brahman, then there was one little girl, very cruel and little girl by the name well, she was a Chandala. Chandala means someone who eats dogs. So she came out of this Shudra. And actually, both the Shudra and this Chandala, they entered into the body of a Brahmana. And the Brahmana was possessed, basically. So when Brahmana actually saw this, that okay, from this Shudra has come this Chandal, and now they are about to enter my body. And King Chandra Sharma was also watching all of this whole incident. So this Brahmana, he started to recite the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And in this, by reciting the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the gift is you will be able to remember the Lord Govinda's lotus feet. So he remembered Lord Govinda's lotus feet, and nothing actually happened to him. Both the Shudra and the Chandala were killed. And so king was very awestruck by listening this pastime. And so this is the benediction. If you regularly recite this chapter, you will attain the lotus feet of Lord Govinda. Similarly, Madhava, the Brahman who was hearing this pastime from the goat's mouth, he also started to recite this chapter regularly. And he also attained the lotus feet of Lord Govinda. For a devotee, lotus feet of Krishna is everything. Yes, there is, in Bhagavatam, if you read, then all the topmost devotees, they are glorifying the feet of Krishna. They are always glorifying the feet of Krishna. So there is something very special about the lotus feet of the Lord. Even the Brajbasis, they are always in worry that, oh, Krishna is not wearing shoes, and what will happen to his lotus feet? So they're always constantly worried about the lotus feet of Krishna. So lotus feet of Krishna is very special, and actually a proper speaker can speak 10, 12 hours a week, 2 week, 10 weeks, 100 weeks just on one topic, which is lotus feet of Krishna. So I can't do justice by speaking about the lotus feet of Krishna, but let me tell you, it is the most special, most auspicious, most best thing a devotee can ever get. And this is the benediction of this chapter. An essence of this chapter is these points. It reveals the confidential teaching, which is loving devotion service to God, loving devotional service to God. The Lord accepts even a simple offering when you give them that with love. So Krishna is very simple. It's said, Bhakti is simple for the simple-hearted. But if you're not simple-hearted, you can't understand Bhakti. No one is disqualified from devotion. Your past mistakes or karma do not block the grace of the Lord. Whatever background you may be coming from, whatever you have committed in the past, doesn't matter. Bhakti, when you start bhakti, there is no disqualification for bhakti. There are just for pure bhakti, for pure devotion, there are 2 disqualifications which we'll discuss. And then another important essence is God personally protects and uplifts his devotee. This is the essence of this 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And as I said, in this chapter, Krishna is directly speaking. Krishna is speaking directly from the heart. Krishna is speaking as the lover of Arjuna, as his friend, because there is also love in friendship, right? So Krishna is disposing all his love and directly giving Arjun something which is extremely disproportionate. And you can only give something highest, something most secretive, something which is completely disproportionate, only to someone who you love. If you don't love someone, you can't give that thing. So this is the key of these chapters. Glory is knowledge about. So first 1 to 3 verses, Krishna is just actually speaking about the glories of the knowledge that he is about to reveal. What kind of knowledge he is about to reveal to Arjun? So Krishna is telling his heart that what I'm about to speak is what is the most secret knowledge. Then Krishna's relationship with this world. So Krishna explains his Aishwarya or his opulences. Then Krishna explains different types of worshippers. And then lastly, Krishna explains the glories of his bhakti. So this chapter, beyond doubt, establishes bhakti above jnana, karma, dhyana, and all other yoga processes. So for a bhakti yogi, this is the topmost chapter. And if you want to argue from scholarly point of view, still ninth chapter is one of the topmost chapters of the Bhagavad Gita because it is the heart of Krishna. So previous chapter, we had studied this is the last verse of the 8th chapter where Krishna actually glorified devotional service. Krishna says a person who accepts path of devotional service is not bereft of the results derived from studying the Vedas. All the Vedas, it takes 36 lifetimes, to study all the Vedas. And whatever fruit you will get after studying all the Vedas, you will easily get if you do bhakti. This is what this verse is saying. If performing sacrifices are very difficult, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. So pursuing PhDs in spiritual topics, like what is it called? Studying the elements. I forgot the name of it. Sankhya Yoga, studying the 24 material elements and all those things. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all of these. That's I can't tell you how difficult even one of these is. But simply by doing bhakti, one attains all these, and at the end, he reaches to the supreme eternal abode. This is what Krishna is put bhakti on the highest pedestal on the last verse of 8th chapter. That bhakti is beyond jnana, bhakti is beyond karma, bhakti is beyond tapasya. Huh? So Krishna has put all of these things, jnana, karma, dhyana, tapasya, in these things that Krishna has mentioned. And he's saying that simply by performing devotional service, one can attain all of this. So if you are a devotee, if you're practicing bhakti yoga, then automatically you will get jnana, automatically you will be perfect in karma, automatically your meditation, your dhyana will be perfect. And automatically you will get benefits of sacrifices and austerities, tapasya. You will get benefits of all of that. So this Krishna established in last chapter. And so Krishna explained how different paths, how the different people pass away from this body, dark time, morning time, night time, but also 6 months of the sun running to the south, Dakshinayan, and 6 months of the sun running to the north, Uttarayan. And for ordinary people, it's important at what time they die, But for people who these two ways do not apply to bhakti yogi. Someone who is a devotee of the Lord, their passing away time is not material. They can pass any time, any month, any day, any place. Why it is like that is because in this chapter Krishna explains how a bhakti yogi is very special person and how to become a pure bhakti yogi. So in this chapter, we previously studied about 4 types of bhaktas, right? Gyani, Arto, Arti, Gyani cha, Bharat, Rishabha. Someone who is after knowledge, someone who is after wealth, someone who is in distress, and someone who is inquisitive. So, but then when we were studying those 4 categories, we also came about Kevala Bhakta, right? Pure devotee, Ananya Bhakta. We use this word, Akinchana Bhakta. Akinchana Bhakta means he is very poor. He has nothing. Like, there are characters in Chaitanya Charitamrita. They are beggars. They have almost nothing. They just live in very small, meager huts. The hut has holes. They only have one lota to live with. But even though they have nothing, they have Krishna. They have Krishna completely. So that those are Akinchana Bhakta who have no desires for Krishna. And they are, Kinchana. So Ananya Bhakta, Kevala Bhakta, Akinchana Bhakta, Shuddha Bhakta, These are the pure devotees, and this chapter actually speaks about the pure devotees and how to do pure devotion. So this is the sequence of confidentiality, and in the verses you will be able to find this. Chapter 2 to 6, that was confidential knowledge. Hmm? Knowledge of matter and spirit. Krishna uses the word guhya, confidential. Then he uses the word guhyattara, so more confidential. And he gives the knowledge, he just begins the knowledge of bhakti in the beginning of 7th and 8th chapter. 8th chapter he concludes that bhakti yogi is higher than all other yogis. 9th chapter, Krishna begins with the word guhyatama. Guhyatama means most confidential knowledge. Knowledge of Kevala Bhakti or Ananya Bhakti. And those, so this middle chapter 7 to 12 are essence of Bhagavad Gita, and chapter 9 to 10 are essence of the essence. So these are the most important chapters. And see, now when you read the 7th chapter and 9th chapter, you will find a lot of similarities between these chapters. Lot of similarities. You will see that verses 1 to 7.12 and 9.12, they stress about, Prabhupada is stressing about hearing of Krishna in both the chapters. So then what is the difference between the chapter 7 and 9? If they are very similar, then what is the difference between 7 and 9? So 7, Krishna speaks also about his energy and his relationships with the material. 9th chapter also is speaking. Krishna is speaking that, I am everywhere. Bhumi apo anilo vayu kham mano buddhirevacha. So he's speaking that I am like all the matter elements. Here also Krishna is speaking about all pervasiveness. Then Krishna is mentioned about demigod worship there in 7th chapter. In 9th chapter is also going to mention. And then impersonalists versus devotees also is mentioned. 9th chapter is also mentioned. So someone who is reading attentively 7th chapter and 9th chapter may think, okay, very similar. Why is Krishna repeating? So can you tell me, why does someone repeat?
Can I answer? I
Yeah,
think,
please.
I mean, one reason I think is because we have bad memories, and
Bad memories.
yeah, so by repeating, that's apparently the way the Vedic scriptures teach, which is different to the Western method of teaching, which is one direction only. And when you've
Mm,
learnt this, you go on to the next. And this is so that this keeps repeating so that we can remember it.
wonderful.
I think that
Wonderful. This
that's
is,
what that's
yeah,
what I
this
learned. Yeah.
wonderful. Yeah, this is one good answer. Yeah. There is another. So um there is another realm of this question of why Krishna is now repeating again similar things.
Well, you said similar, so that means there's some differences, and he probably goes
Yes.
into more details, which is why it's called confidential knowledge, most confidential knowledge. I'm assuming.
Yes. Yeah. No, you're like almost 95% answer is been given now. Almost. I'm just looking for one word now.
Well, Bidisha Mataji.
Yeah, Vidisha Anandaji, any thoughts?
No, I think Gauranga Prabhuji and said all of it. I mean, like typically, we say repetition helps reinforcing. It's kind of
Hmm.
building. Uh, in normal material world, we say building cell memory. Like
Hmm.
unconsciously, inertia wise, you will be do it when you, like we how we do certain multitasking. Like if you're brushing your teeth and simultaneously you're doing something because you're so habituated you have been doing repeating, even the memorizing the slokas. So it feels like some kind of building in my, yeah, I wouldn't,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, no, that's so both are valid points. The realm that Krishna is now speaking from, as I told you, this chapter is now Krishna speaking. All chapters are Krishna's heart, but this chapter is, I can't tell you, the innermost recesses of Krishna's heart, right? So when someone speaks from the heart, what do they speak? They give you most confidential knowledge, which means they give you the deepest knowledge about themselves. So this chapter, very similar to 7th chapter, but it gives, Krishna is going way deeper, way deeper. For someone who is wanting to really understand Krishna, they will understand Krishna from this chapter because Krishna is speaking way deeper in this chapter. So that's the reason is depth is deeper in this chapter. So we'll begin with the first verse. We'll begin with before we begin with the first verse. My question to you is, what is pure bhakti? Because Krishna is now in the very first verse going to tell you the qualification of for pure bhakti. But before you can get qualification for pure bhakti, you should know what is pure bhakti, so that you can speak about the qualification for it. So, what is pure bhakti?
Would pure bhakti be performed by a pure devotee?
Pure bhakti, yes, pure bhakti will be performed by pure devotee. But what is pure bhakti? What will pure devotee do so that he does pure bhakti or she does pure bhakti?
Complete surrender.
Complete surrender is an aspect of pure bhakti. It is not what pure bhakti by itself is definition.
It's beyond the mode of goodness.
Yes, that
Pure
is one of
goodness,
the
pure
aspects
goodness.
again. Yeah, one of, beyond the mode of goodness. Yes, that is one of the aspects of pure bhakti.
I'm just going to say it plainly. Everything revolves around Krishna and nothing else. Nothing else.
Yes, nothing else outside him. Yes,
Like selflessly and not asking anything in return.
yes. These are
Just
all aspects.
okay.
These are all aspects of bhakti. This is how this is how you perform pure bhakti. But what I'm saying is, what is pure bhakti? What is the definition of um what, yeah, what is pure bhakti composed of? Let me put my question like this. What is pure bhakti composed of? Yeah, that so my question here is wrong. I should not be asking what is pure bhakti. I should be asking what is pure bhakti comprised of or composed of.
A combination of the things we've all said just now. Beyond the mode of goodness, selflessness, everything revolves around Krishna. We don't
Those
want
are
anything from Krishna.
characteristics. those
Okay.
those are characteristics. If I will give you an example to understand, right? Sugar, if you take sugar, characteristics of sugar is to be sweet. Characteristic sugar is that it melts at certain point in time. If you keep boiling it, it will become bubbly, it will lump up. If you keep boiling it further, the another characteristic will become carbon. The charred sugar, it will become caramel. So these are all characteristics of sugar. But what is sugar composed of? Sugar is composed of glucose and sucrose or fructose, right? So composition of sugar is different to the outcomes that sugar gives or what it characterizes. So all these things that you've answered, they're characteristics of uh, composition of pure bhakti. What I'm asking is, what is the composition? What is pure bhakti composed of?
Yeah.
Vidisha Mataji,
Krishna.
any thoughts?
I think yeah, my mine is coming like as a properties, the activities to go there, like the body, mind, how we express our love. Or the other day you were talking about the bhavas.
Mm, mm.
Um, apart from that, not
Okay. Okay,
too
I'll break.
different. Like
The
I'll
type
break.
of relationship we have with the Lord.
Uh, okay, that is a different topic. Relationship with the Lord.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah. Let me just get to the core basics, the science. What is the composition of pure bhakti? Pure bhakti is comprised of most confidential knowledge, jnana, not ordinary jnana. It is the most confidential knowledge, because if it has to be pure, then it has to be the best and the purest and the most important, most confidential knowledge. Then it is comprised of a process or a vidhi by which you will actually conduct yourself. And the third thing is realization or vijnana of the knowledge. Realization of the knowledge, meanings you understand the knowledge is one thing, you apply the knowledge is another thing. What is the outcome of applying that knowledge is another thing.
Realization.
Realization of the knowledge. So this is the composition. If you look at the composition, if any of these three things is missing, it's not pure bhakti. It's not composed of pure bhakti. So for example, you see devotees in the temple, They are working very hard for Krishna. So they are what they may, and they are learning about Krishna. Like you all are learning about Krishna now in Bhakti Sastri course. Similarly, so first you are trying to get the confidential knowledge. Okay, then you are wanting to follow the process, the vidhi. When you follow the process doesn't is not something that someone follows for 1 day, 2 day, 3 day. It is few years. It's a prolonged process. Okay, then there is vidhi. But then after even following after the first two things, it may not be the case that you are a pure devotee. Correct? We look at the sannyasis and we say, oh, they are pure devotees. Right? If you look at me, you will say, oh, he's like a dog. It doesn't even look like a pure devotee. So what's the difference? What's missing? The real thing that's missing is realization, the vijnana, the application of the knowledge, and the understanding of the outcome of the application of the knowledge, and that outcome, how it enhances your relationship, your love for Krishna, or how it actually enhances the pleasure of Krishna. Because of these three things, first and the third, the knowledge, confidential knowledge, and realization, both are given by Krishna. Both are given by Krishna. I am very sorry to disappoint you all. You all are thinking you are here in Bhakti Shastri course, so you will get some knowledge. But let me tell you, I am fooling you all and you are getting fooled. I am acting like I am giving knowledge and you all are acting like you are gaining some knowledge. In reality, the knowledge which is confidential is given by Krishna directly in the heart. So right now,
Which
what
comes
you are
down to
understanding,
realization.
yeah, that is realization, but also that is knowledge. So knowledge and realization, specifically about pure bhakti, comes from Krishna and Krishna reveals it in the heart. It's a revealed knowledge. So that's for because Bhagavad Gita is a revealed knowledge. It cannot be taught. So I can give you information now, but it will become revealed to you when you follow the vidhi, when you follow the process. Then Krishna pleased upon your sincerity, pleased upon you for choosing to follow the instructions of spiritual master, please that you are hearing and listening. Krishna will reveal this knowledge to you. That's why it is said people can study Bhagavad Gita for 40 years. People can memorize every single shloka of Bhagavad Gita. People can give lectures and classes for every shloka for 100 lifetimes, but they can still not understand Bhagavad Gita. They can still not understand Bhagavad Gita. Why? Because Bhagavad Gita is a revealed knowledge. It's a category of knowledge which can't be taken. It has to be given. And who becomes a candidate for getting this knowledge is, and the answer to this question is about hearing. We mentioned in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita the process of hearing. In that process of hearing, there is a process of serving pure devotee of the Lord. So if someone serves the pure Mahat Sevaya, if someone serves the pure devotee of the Lord, follows their instructions, then this knowledge gets revealed in our heart. And when it is revealed in our heart, then there is, because we have followed, we following of our process becomes even stronger. Because now when you follow the process, it's not blind faith. You have heard this in India, it's a lot of blind faith because there is no following of the process and then there is no revelation of the knowledge. So this bhakti process is beyond blind faith. You follow the process, the knowledge gets revealed in your heart, it gives you so much joy. And then when you start applying this knowledge, you get realizations from this knowledge. Oh, Krishna said this. How come I did not apply this in this situation? So there is this, that's why Bhagavad Gita is so exciting. It is so adventurous. It is not monotonous because it's not knowledge. It is a revealed knowledge. Krishna will tell you from within your heart. Krishna will tell you from the mouths of other devotees. I don't know how many times it has happened to you that two people within the same day or within same few 2-3 days or same week have said the same things to you. So you walk into somewhere and someone tells you, oh, can you please do this? Can you please visit temple? Next time you visit the temple, please offers these flowers to Krishna for me. And then after 2-3 days again, someone else comes and says, oh, please visit the temple, and when you visit the temple, please offer this flower, or please offer this incense to Krishna for me. So the same thing is repeated from different people's mouths. So what is the understanding? Here Krishna is trying to tell you, please come to my temple. He's telling you, please come to my temple. And whatever is the context, offering flower, offering incense, but Krishna is basically directly telling you. So when Krishna wants to speak to you, Krishna speaks through many people, but Krishna specifically speaks through his devotees. Krishna specifically speaks through his pure devotees. And Krishna speaks through the Shastras or the scriptures. And Krishna can speak to you directly in your heart as Paramatma. This third level of communication of Krishna is very different. It is not necessarily easily attained. It is the Paramatma level of realization. So whoever is worshipping Krishna sincerely may get this Paramatma realization if Krishna chooses to give that realization. So this is the composition of pure bhakti, and this is why Bhagavad Gita is so exciting scripture. But Mahatma Gandhi, yes, Prabhuji.
Can this be, I know this is on the slide, but can we find this back in the student handbook, these three processes?
I doubted. This is all me taking in information from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, other places, other Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, and giving you the essence of from the purports of Prabhupada. So you can't, you may not find all of this directly in the handbook. So this is pure bhakti, composition of pure bhakti. And so then Krishna speaks about what is the qualification for pure bhakti. So this is the qualification. Knowledge of bhakti and the realization of Krishna can only be happening from by non-envious people. Idam tu te guhyattamam, meaning most confidential or even more confidential. Pravakshyami anusuyave, anusuyave. This word has been repeated many places in Srimad Bhagavatam, and it's important to know this. Anusuyave means enviousness. My dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall speak to you of this most confidential. I'll come to you, Bidisha Mataji, in one moment. Jnanam Vijnanam Sahitam, knowledge of pure bhakti, hearing about Krishna, chanting his glories, remembering and serving him, that culminates in direct realization of me. So here Krishna is speaking of Jnanam, knowledge. What kind of knowledge? Guhyatamam, most confidential knowledge. Vijnanam, which means the actual realization. Yajnanatva mokshasya ashubhat, knowing which you shall be relieved of all the miseries. So the quality which, yes, Mataji, you have a question? Or you want to share something?
Yeah, yes, Prabhuji. It always surprised me. I've read this and seen this, people referring like Arjuna, he's telling Arjuna also, you're never envious of me. I know in the previous yugas, yes, there were demons who wanted to be as powerful him, overcome him. But we in this Kali Yuga, how are we envious of him? Does it
Hmm.
apply now in this yuga at
Hmm.
all?
Yes, Mataji, yes. I'll tell you how it applies. Very good question, very beautiful question. So let me tell you, each one of us, we are actually envious of Krishna. I can't speak of you, but I can definitely speak of me. Because so how are we envious of Krishna? Oh, you have been, but I have been practicing for so many years. I love Krishna. I offer my food to Krishna. I do so many things for Krishna. I was born in a family of Krishna devotees. How can I be even envious of Krishna? Right? So actually every living entity in the material world, they are doing something or other which is outside Krishna, which is outside Krishna. Even eating that gulab jamun, even eating that something which you actually like, is not necessarily what Krishna wants, but you like it. So having any desires outside Krishna,
Mm.
it makes us to be wanting to become Krishna. It makes us wanting to be enjoyers, right? This is our problem. We want to enjoy outside Krishna. And when we want to enjoy outside Krishna, we want to be enjoyers, we become envious of Krishna. That envy is not like a very graphic envy, that you see, oh, that these two people are enemies of each other because they are envious. But this is called subtle envy.
Mm.
Small level, its envy is there, and that is the envy, and this is the anartha, right? That we want to get rid of. And I told you this is the longest time consuming portion of the the progress in bhakti life cycle. Bhakti, this is the anartha nivriti. What is this anartha? Anartha is our tendency to enjoy outside Krishna. Not,
Mm.
it's not, I gave you a very gross example of food, but the
Mm.
subtle example is name, fame, distinction. I want to speak, but I will speak different from other person. Why do you want to speak different from other? Because I want to prove that I am slightly better. I am slightly distinct. I am different. This is
Mm.
why I want to speak something different from others. So there is this desire form, adoration, and this adoration will come when I speak differently and when I speak something very special, not according to the scripture. Therefore, you take up Bhagavad Gita from other authors, they just want to make themselves different by speaking useless, unnecessary meanings. They could have easily followed the acharyas, who Krishna had appointed,
Mm.
but they will not speak in that line of knowledge. They will just speak their own mind, something completely bogus, but it may be very entertaining to other people's mind, but it's not in line of disciplic succession. Similarly, devotees also, um, our way is repeat what acharyas have said. Just repeat it, as it is. That's why Bhagavad Gita is as it is. The knowledge is as it is. When you present this knowledge, package it properly for the people, for the audience you have in front of you, then they will get impacted as long as you have kept the knowledge as it is and you have no desire for distinction, name, and fame. So there are these subtle things that a soul wants: name, fame, adoration, distinction, differentiation. So all of this is very difficult to give up until the time we
It's
are
very
continuing
subtle
to
as well,
enjoy.
isn't it? It's also
Pardon?
very subtle. It's also very
Very,
subtle.
very
I've
subtle.
heard that it's like one of these Russian dolls. You take off one
Mhm.
layer and we keep discovering more and more, or peeling an
Yes,
onion, we keep
yes,
discovering more and more layers.
yes. Thank you for that. Yeah, they are very, very subtle. Actually, as Prabhuji said, it's like, you think that you are not envious, but only wait for a situation where you will see that this envy has now come up again, but it is very different looking. It's not the same that you killed some time back or you thought you killed it. It's very different looking. So now you realize, you learn something about your own self. Oh my God, I also have this type of envy. I also have this type of lust. So therefore, this six enemies: lust, greed, anger, envy, illusion, pride.
Mm.
These are the real six enemies that we have to kill. This is what Bhagavad Gita is telling us. And this is why we are all envious of Krishna, because we want to be in some capacity enjoyers, proprietors, and controllers. See, enjoyment is one thing, proprietorship is another thing. Okay, Krishna is my most beloved, but my father is also my loved. My child is also my loved. My husband is also my loved. No, that is also, you are still considering yourself as proprietor of certain relationships. It's
Mm.
not Ananya Bhakti. And then you are also, similarly trying to be controllers. Yeah, if you don't, like sometimes devotees say, oh, my house is for devotees, devotees can come and do kirtan. My wealth is for devotees, I will donate and I'll take care of my family, I'll make children, everyone devotee. So so they think that they are not controlling anything. My car is also for Krishna. Whenever someone calls me for some service, I will take my car for service. I will pick up sannyasis from the airports, I will drop devotees. This is how a devotee should actually do. This is a training for a devotee. This is what devotees should do. But while doing this, devotees may sometimes try to control other devotees. So they are thinking that they have become selfless, but there is somewhere they're trying to control other people.
Mm.
So we try to think that we are controllers also. So all of this three things, it results in some form of subtle envy. And till we have this subtle envy, the knowledge of Krishna will not be fully revealed to us. The more we fight, the more we pray, the more we surrender to Krishna, then slowly Krishna will actually help us fight these envies, these enemies that we have, and Krishna will reveal more and more about him. Tesam evanu kampartam aham agyana jamtama. That out of my mercy, out of my kindness, I will, with a shining lamp of knowledge, destroy the ignorance from within their hearts. So that is the process of surrender that you were mentioning, Mataji. The characteristics. As you surrender more and more to Krishna, so this knowledge is revealed more and more. And with this revelation of more and more knowledge, you continue the process. And this knowledge, then Vigyan also, the realization also Krishna gives you. How Krishna gives you? He'll create situations in your life. Or he will bring in people in your life, or he will bring you in association with people. So you will learn through situations, circumstances, other people, and sometimes from your own day-to-day life you will learn, and you will get more and more realization. So but all of this can only happen when you are not grossly envious. See, Arjun, difference between Arjun and us is Arjun was fully for Krishna. Arjun had nothing for himself. When the Mahabharata finished and when Krishna had left, he went to Yudhishthir Maharaj. He told him about that Krishna had left. And as soon as Yudhishthir Maharaj heard that Krishna had left, Yudhishthir Maharaj handed over the kingdom to his great grandson. And immediately he loosened his hair, took the bark of a tree and started walking out of the palace. Krishna is no more. There is no purpose for me here. He just started walking. And his brothers, they were all equal lovers of Krishna. One after another, they all took up the bark of it. They all started walking outside the house. At that time, when Arjuna started walking out of the house, when Bhima started walking out of the house, they had a wife, Draupadi and Uttara, and Parikshit Maharaj was there. But they didn't care for anyone. They didn't think of anyone. And in fact, Mother Draupadi complains about this in Srimad Bhagavatam, that I spent my entire life with these people, and when going out, when actually quitting this world, not even for one moment they thought of me. Immediately they took up their tree barks and they just walked out of the palace as if nothing exists, nothing means anything to them, and nothing matters to them. This was their love for Krishna. So this is a difference between Arjuna and us. Arjuna is not envious of Krishna. So he is getting this knowledge of Krishna fully, in completeness. And I already told you, this is disproportionate knowledge. Your heart is only this much, but the love that is coming is of the full sky. Can you imagine how much is full sky? Unlimited. How much is this heart? This heart is going to be inundated in that love of God. So that is the knowledge Krishna is trying to give here in this chapter. And Arjuna has that qualities of being non-envious. And we are all in the middle path where we are not grossly envious of Krishna. We want to be with Krishna. We want to serve Krishna. We want to love, but we have our attachments of this material. We have this anarthas. And we are not saying that we don't have anarthas. We don't have attachment. We are saying, Krishna, I still love Gulab Jamun. Krishna, I still like the name, fame, adoration, distinction. But you please help me to get rid of these things. This is the state of a devotee who is still trying to progress. And to such people also, Krishna gives this most confidential knowledge. And Krishna, to the degree they are surrendered, to that degree this confidential knowledge comes to them. And to that degree the realization comes to them. Why? Because they follow the vidhi. They follow the process. If you don't follow the process, if you don't, people say, in India and a lot of the other places, they cry for the Lord. They have some tears in their eyes, but they have no process. They have no process of bhakti. If you ask them to chant every day 16 rounds, they will not chant. You say, okay, don't chant 16, no, chant 2 rounds, chant 4 rounds. Just chant something. On a daily basis, do something for the Lord. No, I chant, when I go, when I'm traveling, when I'm doing this, I think about the Lord. That's it. So where is the process? Process means something done on a regular basis daily. So devotees get up, in the morning, they clean themselves, they chant the rounds, they cook for Krishna, they follow 4 regulative principles. So this is the process. So vidhi has to be there. And we all of us are envious of Krishna, but we are not like grossly envious of Krishna. We are envious to some degree. So therefore, this knowledge is also going to help us. It's also going to purify us. So this is the qualification. Prabhupada stresses on hearing process, which is given in Srimad Bhagavatam, which we discussed in 7th chapter in detail. And if you don't remember it, I will share the slides with you. Go back and see what the process of hearing is. And if you don't, hearing is not just coming here, sitting and hearing, having a conversation. That is not just hearing. Hearing has got very deep aspects to it. If you don't follow those aspects of hearing, then you will not be able to hear. You are just listening something. You are just hearing, taking some information in your ears, but actually you are not listening to anything. Whereas actual process of hearing in Sanskrit means listening. So one who is situated in the most confidential knowledge of Krishna is naturally transcendental. He has therefore has no material pangs, although he is in this material world. So, but if we have material pangs in our life, if we are still complaining about our life, oh, we have this problem, that problem, this is the situation, that person behaved like this person behaved like this, that means we are still not situated in the most perfect knowledge. We have some knowledge of Krishna, but we are still long way to go. And then Krishna says, idam jnanam. So here Krishna, when he says idam jnanam, idam tu ye guhyat mamam pravakshyami, this idam word, this means basically 9 processes of devotional service. Krishna, this knowledge Krishna is about to speak is about what knowledge? This is about the 9 processes of devotional service. Anyone remembers what are the 9 processes of devotional service? Even Sanskrit is good. Even English is good.
Isn't that giving gifts, accepting gifts?
That is 6 exchanges.
Okay. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's a good try.
That was like remembering that he is beginningless or the oldest. He's the controller of everything.
So remembering is the right answer. Remembering him in different aspects is what you are telling from chapter 8. So that is good. You remember chapter 8 very well. That's very nice. But of your answer, I'm going to take remembering. So remembering Lord is one process. Hearing Krishna is another process. What are the remaining process? Hearing of Krishna from sadhus is one process. And then remembering Krishna is another process. What are the other processes? Other remaining 7 processes?
Chanting.
Chanting, wonderful. Yes.
Reading about him.
No, reading is same as hearing.
Okay.
Speaking.
Kirtan, yes, which is chanting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam. Then Pada Sevanam.
Yeah, lotus feet seva.
Worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, offering to the Lord, like offering food and everything. Archanam, Vandanam, meaning worshipping the Lord, like we worship the Lord. Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, becoming the servant of the Lord and his devotees. Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, becoming the friend of the Lord, and Atma Nivedanam, offering everything else to Krishna. Everything that belongs to us, offering that to the Lord. These are the 9 processes of devotional service. And of the 9 processes of devotional service, 3 are very important: hearing, chanting, and Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam. Hearing and chanting are the most important ones, and remembering the Lord. These 3 are the very important ones. And of these 3, you will only be able to do these 3 if you do hearing. So therefore, in Kali Yuga, the most stress has been given on hearing, because people can't hear in this age. This is the biggest problem.
They can hear,
so this knowledge Krishna is speaking. Pardon?
They can hear, but they can't listen, you mean?
Actually, in Kali Yuga, you can't even hear.
Okay.
This is the problem. Because there is weapons of mass distraction.
I'm guilty.
Yeah, you're constantly hearing music. You're constantly hearing some. You're constantly hearing WhatsApp. You're constantly reading WhatsApp, and reading is same as hearing.
You're constantly hearing your mind also.
You're constantly hearing your mind. Exactly. So people are so disturbed that they are not able to hear anything. And then what to speak of other things which you mentioned. So Anusuyave, which means non-envious, being non-envious of Krishna. So there are a lot of people who can actually get this message of Bhagavad Gita if they are non-envious. So there are a lot of useless commentaries because the authors themselves were envious of Krishna. They want to become Krishna, or they want to just present Krishna as an ordinary human being. They have written garbage in their commentaries. Very famous is Dr. Rajendra Prasad, the first president of India. He has just written some complete Mayavad commentary on Bhagavad Gita. There was one Indian Air Force pilot. He became completely handicapped because of some due incident. My great respects to him. But his commentaries, they are not very genuine. They don't, they are just not good.
I think
So,
they are not following the gurus, and they don't have like just the way you are a guru. Yeah, you just said like you're not giving knowledge, you are, because how to interpret those lines in Gita, how to use it as a tool in your day-to-day life to reach Krishna, that everybody doesn't have that quality until and unless one invest in that
mm,
continuously, hours and
continuous.
hours, days and days, years and years, and everything. So, therefore, it will not happen. So, we are learning, we are gaining knowledge because you are telling us how to interpret word by word, how to apply it in our daily life, how to practice it, how to see the shortcomings, how to improve it.
Mm. And this is not my words. These are what I have been taught, meaning I have been told by someone else and I am doing exactly the same. Because knowledge doesn't belong to me, I can't keep it, I can't hold it. If the knowledge is not something you pass on to others, then you can't have it. For the flow to happen, the flow is coming from gurus, from the acharyas, from Krishna, from pure devotees of the Lord. And you are in the path. And because you're in the path of the flow, you become wet, you become the part of the flow. And if you block the knowledge, if you don't give out the knowledge, then you are not in the flow. So you can't give the knowledge to everyone else. So we are just postmen, doing the job of a postman. We have to give knowledge as it is. So I'm trying to give knowledge as it is. And also, you mentioned, I've been doing this for many hours, many years. Let me tell you, I didn't do this always like this. It starts very small. It starts with 1 minute or 2 minute, and oftentimes it starts with association with devotees, or just go visiting temple and taking prasad with devotees. That's all I loved, honestly speaking. I liked the sadhus because I thought there was something nice about them. I didn't even know what was nice about them. I can't even explain that. And I loved prasadam. So I kept going. And my mentor, he is a psychiatrist. He's still here. So he was very kind. He took mercy upon me and very kindly taught me. And so when you become inspired, you slowly start to invest more time. It doesn't happen overnight. Many years pass by, and then suddenly you look behind and you realize, oh, so many years have passed by, and now my life is like this. I'm already doing these things. I'm already spending so much time. So it's not something that this is big. It feels big to you after so many years. But when you begin, it always has very humble beginnings. And it is a matter of heart, how much time the person. There is a this theory of relativity from Einstein, right? He got a Nobel Prize for this. Do you know actually what this theory of relativity is? I will tell you in very simple terms. Theory of relativity says that if you are with your girlfriend, then million years feel like one moment. And
Mm,
if you are on a frying pan, then a moment feel like million years,
yes.
right? So in some and substance, this is relative where you are, what is the situation. That's what his theory of relativity was. And this is what I'm saying. When you are in love with Krishna, no matter how much time you spend, you feel that you have spent no time with Krishna. And when you are actually in love with matter, when you are in love with material energy, you spend same time with matter. And you become tired and exhausted because matter doesn't give you any satisfaction. Only spirit gives you satisfaction. So when you become in this very difficult situations of life, which we will discuss in one of the shlokas, very beautiful words Krishna have used. When you are in very difficult situations of life, then that situation becomes so troublesome, and you, even a small moment in that troublesome time feels like so much time has gone. So you don't want to be in that troublesome situation. So you want to be in Krishna situation. You want to be with Krishna, serving Krishna's devotees, serving Krishna, like that. So
It's,
initially it may look, yes, Prabhuji.
I was just going to say, sometimes when I'm doing my japa, some of the rounds are gone just like that because it's a good quality round, but not all of the rounds, of course. But it flies by. So, oh wow, I finished this round already.
Yeah, yeah. When you are actually doing japa and actually thinking of Krishna and hearing His holy name at the same time, so it goes like this: Nama Guna Rupa Lila. So when you're taking Nama in the beginning stages, where mind is very distracted, so Prabhupada has instructed, try to hear what you are saying. Because when you actually do this exercise, your brain is locked. It can't run anywhere because you are hearing. It can't run into thoughts. So it's a very difficult to run into thought if you're actually hearing. The problem is we are saying, but we are not hearing the holy names. But what happens is as we are chanting in the process, we are associating with devotees. When we associate with devotees, and if we associate with good devotees, then good devotees will speak about Krishna to you. The good devotees will, if you, this is their quality, they will not just speak to you, how are you, how about you, everything is going on. They will speak those things, but main thing is they will discuss some Krishna's pastimes with you. They'll discuss something about Krishna which will be touching to your heart. It will touch you, it will touch your existence. And what will that do? It will help you to reflect, meditate on what was said. And when you meditate and reflect on Krishna, then what happens is you get Krishna. And what happens is when you're then doing japa, then you are starting in a process of establishing relationship from nama to guna. You say, oh, Krishna is so nice. He saved all the Brajvasis, from the trouble. We also hear, he takes care of his devotees. He will promise in this chapter. He takes care of his devotees himself. So you will slowly start to appreciate qualities of Krishna. Oh, Krishna is such a naughty boy. My God, he always steals butter, and he feeds monkeys. He can eat himself, but what's the need to feed monkeys? So you will start to meditate on qualities of Krishna, guna, nama, guna, rupa, and then Krishna will reveal his form. Slowly, you will get attracted to the form of Krishna while you are chanting the rounds of your day-to-day life. And so then the form of Krishna, as soon as you close your eyes, as soon as you start to chant, immediately the lotus feet of Krishna will become manifest. But when you are disturbed, when you are not attentive, when you are very distracted, when you don't want to actually spend time with Krishna, then no matter what, how many times you close your eyes, how many times you try to focus your attention, your brain has so many divisions and so many thoughts of so many services that the lotus feet of Krishna is not immediately visible in front of your eyes on closing the eyes.
Sounds familiar.
This is our daily struggle. So after this, all of these struggles, then when you chant, then you can remember the Leela of the Lord. So and after you pass through these stages, then you go through the same stages in a deeper level, where at the highest pedestal, you will be in the Leela of the Lord, witnessing the Leela of the Lord. So that's even deeper. Sorry, someone's calling me. I don't know who. So I'll have
It's
to.
somebody from India.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
that was clear.
Yeah, so that is even deeper level. So that's why I didn't want to rush through this chapter, because the real juice of Bhagavad Gita, the heart of Krishna, um, this completely disproportionate affection of Krishna can be seen, can be felt in this chapter. So Prabhupada is telling, avoid useless commentaries because they are envious of Krishna. They are anusuya way. They are not. So then Krishna speaks about what is this knowledge that I'm going to speak to you. And it's one of the most famous pieces of knowledge Krishna ever gave. But before telling Arjuna, he's telling, glorifying this knowledge. And this glorification of these words, the words chosen by Krishna, is very, very refined. And in entire of Bhagavad Gita, this is the first time the choice of words Krishna has used is is very amazing. All the words, all the shlokas of Krishna's are very amazing, but this verse is so beautiful. One should just by heart it. Krishna begins with Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pratyaksha Avagamam Dharmayam Susukham Kartum Avyayam. So please read purports in this. For this verse, Prabhupada has given a very long purport, and because I didn't had so much time, I couldn't bring out all the essence of all the purport. But please read purport yourself. I'll take through word by word. Rajavidya. This is not an ordinary education. This is the king of all education, a sense of all the philosophies. If someone is an engineer, a doctor, they are great in the material life, but if they don't have this vidya, then they actually don't have any vidya. All of that vidya is material vidya, and material vidya is only temporary. It is not going to help the soul, it is going to help the body. So if you want to really help yourself, self-help books, then this is the vidya you must have. And it's called the king of all knowledge, the essence of all philosophies. Raja Vidya, Raja Guhyam, king of all secrets. When do you tell secret to someone? When you love someone. And actually, when you're overflowing in love, you don't actually care for what you are saying. You anyways tell them the topmost thing that you know in your existence. Once my spiritual master, when he was giving class, he told what is the meaning of blessings. So what according to you is the meaning of blessing?
I can't answer that. I don't know.
Oh, okay. So he basically said that blessing is not when because he was referring to some people, who when they get married or when their daughters or children are married, they invite sadhus. And when they invite sadhus, they ask the sadhus, oh, please bless my daughter. Please bless my son, please bless them so they can be well off or they can be spiritual or whatever. So they basically invite devotees, they feed them, and then they ask them for some blessings. In another places, this is a very modern trend. Some when you do big functions, then you this create this board, notice board, and this notice board you keep small paper and you put pen and ask people to write few words for blessings, and you stick them on the boards. Basically, you have seen this, right? This is very modern ways of getting blessings from people. So
They
Guru
want
Maharaj was
something. They want something.
they want something, exactly. This is the essence, right? They want something. So Gurudev was saying exactly this thing, that blessing is not something that you seek and can be given. Blessing is not something that people come to your house and write something for you. Blessing is a spontaneous outpour of the heart. And the spontaneous outpour of the heart is when you really you really love the person, you know the person, and that person has actually done some service, some great service, either to you or to spiritual master or to some great service to humanity, some great service to the Lord, that you are touched by their service, you are really touched by their character, you are really touched by their essence, you are really touched by their love for the Lord. In one of these categories, in one of these situations, when you seek blessings, there is a spontaneous outpour of the heart. So this Raja Guhyam, king of all secrets, Krishna can only tell when there is a spontaneous outpour of Krishna's heart for Arjuna. Arjuna has done something. He is a great friend of Krishna. Krishna is giving this disproportionate knowledge and he is revealing all this secret. And when you are actually in love, you want to control and you don't want to tell the secret, but you can't hold it back. You tell it anyways, right? When your love is intense, you can't hold back. It is an outpour from your heart. So thank God this outpour happened, and thank God it was spoken to Arjuna. Thank God there was Vyasadev recording it. We would have never ever understand Krishna without this knowledge, ever, without the outpour of Krishna's heart. See, Krishna, Arjun says in one of the 10 chapters, he will say that, oh Krishna, you are unlimited, you are this, that, it's impossible for a small brain, It's impossible for me to know you until unless you tell me about yourself. Okay, so if I ask you, Bidisha Mataji, I ask you, Vijay Gaurang Prabhu, to tell me about yourself, then you will tell me something about yourself. You will tell me something. But if I was in relationship, like I'm in relationship with my daughter, she's my daughter, and I'm in love. I'm in love with my wife. Then I don't hold back anything. I just tell everything. All the secret will ooze out of my heart. I won't be able to hold it back. It will just ooze out because of the love. So because Krishna loved Arjuna so much, Arjun loved Krishna so much, because Arjun is a pure devotee. And thank God, this conversation happened. It oozed out the heart of Krishna. It oozed out from Krishna this most confidential knowledge. It pulled Krishna to say this confidential knowledge. Otherwise, we would have never ever gotten this. And in another place, Arjun is asking for this knowledge, begging Krishna to say. But in this chapter, in this place, Krishna is telling out from his own heart directly. Krishna is telling directly from his own self. 10th chapter, Arjun said to Krishna, I can't know you because you are everywhere, everything, all pervading. How can anyone know you if you don't tell about yourself? But in this chapter, even before Arjuna says these things to Krishna, in this chapter, Krishna is already, by his own self, he's saying these things to Arjun. So this is a Raj Guhyam, is king of all secrets, because it's now Krishna is telling it is oozing out from Krishna's heart. Pavitram, it is purest. Say if the knowledge is very secret, then someone may question that, okay, maybe it is not the topmost knowledge. It may be a secret, but it may not be a topmost secret. And if it's a secret, what's the word we use? Dirty secrets. Don't we use this word, dirty secrets? But here the secret is not dirty secret, it's the most purest secret. Purest, pavitram, idam. Purest of all, purifies one of all material contamination, and it's uttamam. Tamas means mode of ignorance, rajas means mode of passion. When we often use this word uttama, it refers to something which is beyond mode of passion and ignorance, which means something in the mode of goodness. But this uttama also has one more meaning, which is topmost, best. Oh, how was this dosa that you ate? Oh, this was uttam, or this was perfect, this was the best. This is the another meaning. So this knowledge is uttamam, which means the topmost, transcendental to the darkness or ignorance of this world. So if something is king of all education, topmost, and something is the most secret, then generally it may not be the purest. But in this case, Krishna is giving the purest. And because it is purest, it is also at the same time it is uttamam, it is topmost. Then he says pratyaksha avagamam. Why? If it is something which is topmost and something which is purest and which is the king of all knowledge, then it should result in realization. That knowledge which is the topmost will result in giving you information of what's the outcome of that knowledge. If you apply this knowledge, what's the outcome going to be? And the outcome, the feelings, the joy, the connection, the relationship with the Lord, that is all the realization. So here Krishna is saying this knowledge will give you realization. When you apply this knowledge, will give you realization, gives direct experience of the self by realization. And dharmayam. So sometimes the knowledge is perfect, it can give you realization, it is pure. But not only that, it will result in dharma. And what kind of dharma? Perfection, or the topmost pedestal of dharma. Perfection of religion, which is service to the Supreme Lord. So it tells you it will bring you to the path of dharma. And this whole thing is being spoken in the battlefield of Krishna, where there is a battle between adharma and dharma. So it's important to remind Arjuna that knowledge that I'm about to give you, it will bring you to the topmost pedestal of dharma. Whatever dharma can be, that is what dharma means, is what I'm about to speak to you. Then susukham, kartum avyayam. So then Krishna uses the word susukham. After you have gotten this knowledge, what is the benefit of this knowledge? Everyone wants to be happy, right? So by getting this knowledge, you will be joyful. And what will happen? It's not just joyful, it is susukham. Susukham means very, very joyful. After getting this knowledge, you are very, very joyful. Therefore, if you get the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita revealed in your heart, you become very joyful as a human being. practicing Bhagavad Gita, speaking about Bhagavad Gita, and discussing Bhagavad Gita, learning Bhagavad Gita from others, even though you have read it so many times, you'll relearn again. It becomes so sukham. And because this knowledge is about devotional service to the Supreme Lord, therefore you will be able to do this joyfully. This knowledge you will be able to apply, and you will be able to live very joyfully. So this verse of Bhagavad Gita and the process of hearing in Srimad Bhagavatam that was discussed in 7th chapter. What was the process of hearing? What was the outcome of the process of hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam? Evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogatah bhagavad tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jayate. There also it is said, Evam prasanna manaso, that you will become prasanna, you will become very joyful. Evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogata. In doing devotional service of the Lord, bhagavad bhakti, you will become very, very joyful. Bhagavad bhakti yogata, bhagavad tattva vijnanam. You will understand the Lord in tattva, in substance, through science, through real understanding of the Lord, not through emotion, not through sentiment. You will understand the Lord in tattva, in substance, in science. Bhagavad tattva vijnanam. Vijnanam, we just discussed realizations. You will understand the Lord through lot of realizations. Not by someone who has trained you, not by someone who has talked to you. You will get realizations yourself. So this verse and the outcome of hearing, proper hearing, which we defined in the 7th chapter, very beginning, it basically tells you the same thing. So that's why it's important to remember this verse. And Prabhupada is mentioning here, for those who are engaged in devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all sinful reactions, whether fructified in stock or in the form of a seed, gradually vanish. Because someone may question, that, okay, this is the most powerful knowledge. What will happen if I apply this knowledge, but I had so many sins? I come from a background where I was killing meat day and night in my previous time before coming to Krishna consciousness. What about my sins? So this is the answer that is being given, that Prabhupada says, and that Krishna promises, that aprarabdha phalam papam. Prarabdha means from the beginning of this life. So whatever is aprarabdha phalam, phalam means whatever is the result, fruit of all your bad activities from many previous lifetimes. Papam, sin, whatever sin you have committed. Kutam bijam means that in the form of a seed. And phalonmukham, that which has fructified. Phal, fruit, unmukham. Unmukham means that which has been, seed is no longer seed, it has grown from the seed, which means it has become a fruit. So phal, unmukham. So kutam bijam, seed, or even if your sin has become a fructified seed, you still don't have to worry when you are coming to this path of Vishnu Bhakti Ratatmanam. When you are actually engaging in devotional service of the Lord, then you should not worry about your past karma. You should not worry about what you did in the past. You should focus in the now. That is the important point. That gives a devotee a lot of faith. So this is a very important verse. One must remember each word of this verse. And this verse stresses on the process of hearing. So who cannot understand Krishna, who cannot understand pure devotional service is next point. Krishna says, the faithless cannot understand Krishna. Those who are not faithful in the process of devotional service, O Arjuna, cannot attain me. They remain in the path of repeated birth and death in this material world. So someone, comes to devotional life. So we see this. Sometimes people come to the temple, and actually they have come to the temple for prasadam, for food. And actually they have no interest in spiritual life, and we see that such people keep coming for food for life and a lot of things for years and years at a stretch. They have no interest in Krishna. That's no problem. We still give them the food, sanctified food. But if you have no faith, then you can't understand about devotional service. So you'll keep coming to the temple, you'll keep meeting the sadhus, but you will not take actual benefit of the sadhus. Sadhus will tell you, chant holy name. You will not chant. Sadhus will tell you, offer your food to Krishna. You may not offer to Krishna. So people who are faithless cannot understand. And Prabhupada says that this process of removal of infection of karma and jnana is important to become a first-class devotee. So someone starts to come to the temple, someone's attending sessions, courses, doing some service, chanting the holy names of the Lord. but still there is some infection of karma and jnana. Sometimes some devotees come to the temple, immediately they want to do services. They start doing one service, immediately they notice that they're doing 10 services, because they are very active personalities. And there is some tinge of karma. Karma means if you do some actions, you will get some results. That's what you want. So sometimes sometimes people who come to the temple, they want some results, like they want appreciation, or they want announcement, name, fame. That, oh, this person did amazing services in the temple. This person sponsored 500 Bhagavad Gitas. So the activity is the most glorious, and the person actually wanted the name of themselves. But in reality, they not just got the fame, they actually did benefit to the whole world by sponsoring Bhagavad Gita. So there is no problem with this sponsoring Bhagavad Gita. But because they sponsored Bhagavad Gita and because they had a desire for the name, they get the name. But slowly, in some point in time, because they did this very good activity of sponsoring Bhagavad Gita, they will get an opportunity to read Bhagavad Gita. And then slowly they will be able to give up this desire for name, fame, everything. Because by reading Bhagavad Gita, this will go away. So you have to give up the karma. And in the beginning stages of devotional life, we are all like this. I used to do so many services. I liked appreciation. Someone said, oh, yeah, this Prabhu is very nice. He's washing the pots, he's doing this, he's doing that. So everyone likes to hear good things about themselves, right? So this is the beginning. We are mixed with karma and then jnana. Some people will come to the temple, immediately they will learn some shlokas and immediately they will recite some verses and they love it. No problem. No problem. You can still continue to engage in devotional life, and slowly over a long period of time, you will have distaste for being karma. You will get distaste for appreciation. You will get distaste. As soon as you get appreciation, you will pass it on to other devotees. You will say, no, it was not me. It was this devotee. He was helping, and this is why it happened. Or you will pass it on to your spiritual master. Oh, this class, I didn't give this class. Actually, my spiritual master taught me all of these things. Prabhupada taught me all of these things. So actually, they are the most glorious. So the devotees, when they progress in their devotional life, slowly this karma and jnana, it starts to go away. It doesn't happen overnight. So if you have an expectation of name, fame, no problem. There is no problem with that. But it's a hindrance on the path of pure devotion. But that will not go overnight. It happens over a period of time. So this infection of karma and jnana goes away. And this is what Prabhupada says, that by giving water to root of tree, one satisfies its branches, twigs, leaves, and by supplying food to the stomach, one satisfies all the senses of the body. Similarly, by engaging in transcendental service of the Supreme Lord, one automatically satisfies all demigods and all other living entities. Therefore, after reading Bhagavad Gita, one should promptly come to the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. In this thing, Prabhupada is telling you what's the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. One should give up all other engagements and adopt the service of the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead Krishna. If one is convinced of this philosophy, that is the faith. This is the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. Let me just give up all other engagements of life and let me do service to Krishna. So now one may ask a question. So Prabhu, should I stop going to job? Should I stop taking care of my children? Should I stop paying electricity bills? This is not what Krishna says. This is not what Prabhupada is asking. Prabhupada is saying, you give up all other engagements and first engage in Krishna's service. And then whatever you have time and resources, then you can use all of that time and resources in engagement of Krishna's service. See, engaging in Krishna's service is different stages. Engaging fully is one stage, but it's called primary engagement, or prathamik engagement. But those who can't do primary, they can do secondary. Secondary is called gana, or second, or dvitiya. So what is dvitiya? Gana is secondary devotional service, and this is what Krishna also tells Arjuna in this chapter and in 10th chapter also, that you have your life. So in your life, you also include me. So give me some time in your life. And then while doing the activities of your life, if you can remember me, then you are going from secondary towards primary. So have you given up your day-to-day activities? No. But while doing your day-to-day activities, you are remembering Krishna. So you're transitioning from secondary, which is you're doing your day-to-day activities and sometime you are giving to Krishna, and then you're transitioning from that to that while doing your day-to-day activities, you are now including Krishna in your day-to-day activities, meaning you are remembering Krishna as you are doing your day-to-day work. And so basically your secondary activity is now starting to move towards the primary. So at one point in time, your day-to-day activities, going to job, raising children, they all become primary because you are doing all of them with in constant memory of Krishna. It's a difficult stage to achieve, but it is possible. And then last and most important point, Prabhupada says this knowledge is not eulogy. Okay? Eulogy means, what is eulogy? Can someone tell me what is eulogy?
No idea.
No idea. Bidisha Mataji?
I know that when people pass away, we give the eulogy about, like who he or she was, his good deeds,
Yeah.
his service. So basically honoring his activities when he was alive.
Yes. So this, what Prabhupada is saying is, this is not just, this knowledge is not just for eulogizing. It's not just for saying, oh, what an amazing knowledge, what an, this knowledge is for practice. This is a real knowledge. This is something that you can actually bring into your life. Another thing, a lot of the people take Bhagavad Gita and Mahabharata and all the Vedic scriptures, they say this is anecdotal. This is not anecdotal. It really happened. Arjuna could actually shoot millions of arrows. It's a fact. It's not that, oh, he must have shot 2 arrows or he must have shot 100 arrows. No, Arjuna could actually shoot millions of arrows in reality. So these are not anecdotes. Lot, but because we don't have that conception, we can't see the full science. We are not in full knowledge. And we have taken whatever the material scientists have told us. And because material scientists can't see beyond what they have discovered, therefore they can't actually accept what's there in the Vedas. But whatever is there in the Vedas is reality. It's not anecdotal stories. These stories have happened and they are real. And so when they are real, this is what it is for devotees. They are all real. We take true the planetary systems, which is very different to the modern planetary system. Very, very different to the modern planetary system. We take it all true.
Yep.
Okay.
I think also because people are coming from a material perspective, they well, I forgot what I want to say. Just continue, please. Sorry.
Okay. When it comes to your mind, please share. Please do share. A lot of people have also, when you package certain information very nicely, it becomes very appealing. And then when you present to people, the masses will buy it, right?
Mm.
Like, say, for example, America for a long time said that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. And, so the whole of the UK and America, we attacked Iraq and we killed the guy and we couldn't find any weapons of mass destruction. But while this whole propaganda was being made that he had weapons of mass, it was very appealing. It was very strong. There was a very strong sentiment here in the UK and in the US in common people that no, he does have weapons of mass destruction. He has chemical bombs. He has this, that. We should attack him. We should kill him now. Otherwise, he will kill innocent people. So the when the information is packaged very nicely, so similarly the modern science is very nicely packaged with reasonings, logical reasoning. If you do this, this will happen. They say don't eat ghee. Ghee will cause you fats. Ghee will cause you problem. My mother's age, mother's generation, we were not allowed, we were not given so much ghee. There was a problem. And now the same modern science, the same science now considers ghee as a superfood. They say ghee in doses is very important actually for lubricating all the inner cells of the body, lubricating the joints. Hmm? And in ancient Vedic system, ghee was of so many types. Medicated ghee itself, 40, 50 different types of ghee is there. Even to a small baby, there is a medicated ghee people give. So what I'm trying to say is that modern science packages things in so much appealing ways, but actually devotees, they can see the points of the modern science, but they have a vision to see beyond it also, because they devotees have a vision for subtle. Devotees have a vision which is beyond the material senses, which is transcendental. That vision is given to them by Krishna through Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. Hmm? Like divisions of time. Time division, the modern science has just given us the divisions of time, which is millisecond, microsecond, nanosecond, second, hour. But actually Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken thousands and thousands of years, and there the time is already divided up to femtoseconds, which is 10 to the power minus 12, or femto is maybe 10 to the power minus 15. Yeah. So the time was already divided. Lamha, muhurt, and so many concepts of time were already anu, lava. So all of this were divisions of time were already made so many thousands of years ago. So this is the modern science may package something very nicely. It may not be full truth, but they consider whatever truth they have discovered to be the only truth, and that is not the case. And
I
so Bhagavad, yes, Vidishanandaji.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, Prabhuji. I don't think that what they say is something they discovered, because now
Mm,
the motive is different. Like whether it is medicine or any kind of food they are saying, possibly whoever is donating them and they are into which business or faculty, that narrative is getting pushed. Actually, it has
mm,
nothing to do even what they found, or they would not even disclose. They might have found
mm,
truth, but they are packaging the narrative in that
mm.
way. Whereas
That
we
way.
have the opportunity to refer to our old scriptures because they
Mm,
lived longest, they were happier, they had ways to tackle problems. Problem was that time also there, now is also there.
mm,
There were a lot, they didn't have mental issues. Now we have all the
mm,
things. They had different food habits, we have different food habits. So we need to reflect because our gene didn't change much.
mm,
So we
mm,
need to reflect those old scriptures and see what were our grandparents doing better than us and what we are
mm,
not doing. How we are spending time every day and night, what time we are getting up, when we are sleeping, what we are doing, what we are thinking, and what they were thinking, how they were doing their work, the so-called our famous Swadharma and Sanatan
mm,
Dharma. They
mm,
had
mm.
that. And they didn't have to call them as like, spiritual or religious. It was just part of their life.
Yes,
Now
yes.
we are required to tag it differently.
Mm. So true, Mataji. Very beautifully put. Yeah, it's very complex now in the modern day.
Mm.
So, yeah, thank you for that. So, this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata, Ramayana, these are not eulogies, these are not nice words. These are words which are real, practical, and they are histories, they are realities, they have happened. Some of the realities is beyond our understanding because we are not being told to see beyond ourselves. So, this is the problem.
Yeah,
So
in
now
general,
Krishna from Haribo.
yeah, in general, isn't it a fact that most people in the world are materialists, and um, all their experiences are because they use sense their senses, and they're not used
Hmm.
to doing anything else.
Hmm.
And that, something like that.
Yeah, actually, 99% of the people, if you go to a very busy shopping street, high street, the 99% of the people there are trying to shop, buy something for the senses, for the mind. So you can make this general statement that 99% of the people or 90% of the people of the world population is actually materialist because they wanted to enjoy the matter. They came into the material world. They wanted to enjoy the matter. Everyone wants to enjoy matter.
Yeah, because that's why they, they they can't understand this kind of thing because they're
Mm.
so habituated to using their senses.
Exactly. And the senses have been really cowed down because of the modes, because in specific temperature situations, countries that they are born in, they are cowed down by the modes. Like in certain countries, people eat cats and dogs and all kinds of animals. So when you are eating certain foods, then it will not allow you to, think at the higher level, at the subtle level. If you look at Western civilizations or any cold civilization, a lot of the people would, kill every day and eat, like an animal. They would go out for killing and eating. But if you go to Vedic civilizations, they cultivated. 6 months they would cultivate and store grains, and then remaining 6 months they had time with their hands. So they did poetry, they did astrology, they did all scientific things, divisions of time, speed of light was calculated back then, mathematics, they had time for that. So yes, you can say, but what I have experienced in my existence as a very small, meager, almost zero time I've spent in distributing books, I've realized that actually soul, it has some tendencies for elevation. They want to actually get something deeper, but matter cows them down.
Yeah.
Matter pulls them down. But when you
Mm.
actually give them and speak with them anything about karma, jnana, or bhakti, what to speak of bhakti, you will see that there is some attraction already there. It may be Paramatma guiding them. So because of this experience of in reality, in the real world, I am now tempted to think that actually 99%, 99.999% people are actually spiritualists. They are just covered. They are just covered with these heavy modes of nature, covered with their situations, covered with their desires. All they need is people like you, people like Bidisha Mataji, to go to them, reach out to them, and strike a conversation. Only strike a conversation. As soon as you strike a conversation, because you are in knowledge, you are learning all of this knowledge, living by this knowledge, you will see that person somewhere there is a spark. Even that person will speak something knowledgeable to you, or they will speak something, they are attracted to some yoga, or they are attracted to some meditation practices, or they are
They might
attracted
be
to religion,
attracted to our happiness.
attracted to our happiness. Exactly. Even if they, exactly, if they are habituated to their habituated to their own happiness, that is also a big thing, because then they will come to a realization that okay, they can't be happy here, it's all temporary. Anityam Asukham Lokam, which is my favorite verse, which is my WhatsApp tagline as I was preparing for this chapter. But, anyways, they'll soon realize that it's all temporary. The happiness cannot be fulfilled. So, so now, next 4 to 10 verses, Krishna is actually, before telling about the purest knowledge of pure bhakti, Krishna is telling about his energies and how he creates the world. So how he maintains all the world. So here Krishna is, and again, I by hearted this verse. I loved it. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtinaha, unmanifested avyakta murtinaha. Hmm? Matsthani sarva bhutani nacha aham teshu avasthita. That Matsthani, Matsthani sarva bhutani, all living entities, sarva bhutani, they are situated in me. Matsthani. Mat, me, sthani means in me, and nacha aham teshu avasthita, that but I am not in them. I am independent and I'm aloof. So now next few set of verses are slight confusing, but we will finish with them in this session, and hopefully we'll get rid of the confusion. So here Prabhupada is saying one should not conclude that he's spread all over, he is lost, and his personal existence doesn't exist. To refute such an argument, the Lord says, I am everywhere and everything is in me, but I am still aloof. For example, Prabhupada gives example of a king, right? A king is present in his palace, but the fear of the king is everywhere. Like the fear of the boss is even at the home. Although the boss is in his own home, is in the office, but you are always in fear of your boss. Similarly, king's presence is felt in all the departments of the country, or all the state. So similarly, Krishna is there and his energies are felt everywhere. That doesn't mean that Krishna is impersonal. That doesn't mean King is impersonal. King is still one person, but his energies are everywhere. But also important thing, Krishna is saying everything is in me. So actually the whole material creation is in the belly of Krishna. Everything, all creations, material and spiritual, is in the belly of Krishna. And it's inconceivable to understand this completely. But someone who is reading Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, will slowly get a taste for understanding this. Here, I'm very shocked, and I'll tell you, I was uh, for some time, for some moments, listening to some debates between Christian speakers and Islamic scholars, and there, there was a massive debate about that Jesus is actually God. you know Jesus is the God and Christ is the God. So there is Trinity and all those things, but they were all And these Islamic scholars were saying, though, actually, Jesus is not God, Jesus is the Son of God. And Prabhupada also said that Christ is the God and Jesus is the Son of God. But a lot of Christians would not accept that. Actually, they are of the view that Jesus is God. So there is no problem with that. They are free for their views. And so as I was listening to the debate, this amazing point that this Christian debater he brought in, and in that portion of the Bible, the Lord was telling that I am in everything, and everything is in me. So when I heard that, and that was direct quote from Bible, when I heard that, when I saw that, I was like, wow, Bible is a good book actually in that sense. At least some knowledge is directly relevant to coming from Bhagavad Gita. So Prabhupada also mentioned about Jesus, that, yes, he was an authentic Vaishnava. He was trying to correct people, but his disciples were not able to take all the knowledge he was trying to give to them, or what to speak of understanding them in the correct context. But my Bible is the best book, Bible is everything, whatever it is for Christians. But my intention is to say that there is some similarities of information, of knowledge, even in those books. Because here Krishna is saying directly that I pervade this entire universe. That is, Krishna is everything, but Krishna is pervading in an unmanifested form, that he is not visible there. All living beings are in me, their existence is dependent on me, but I am not in them. I am not on them. I'm not depend. When Krishna says I am not in them, Krishna means I am not dependent on them. So God doesn't depend on the living entities. Krishna means to say I am aloof from them. So um, Krishna is in every living entity as Paramatma, but in this context, Krishna is specifically saying that I am independent, you know, and all the living entities are dependent. So 9.5, and yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence, Aishwarya. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere, I am not part of this cosmic manifestation, for myself is the very source of creation. So Krishna here is telling that, okay, I've created the material worlds, but I don't reside in these material worlds. I live in the spiritual worlds. But these material worlds are still maintained by me as through my energies. Through my energies. Krishna has energies, external energy. So Krishna is saying that there is a, when you go out on book distribution, when you're distributing Bhagavad Gita, sometimes, I came across some Islamists and they were saying God cannot come to this material world. So I asked them why. They say, that's it. We have been told that God cannot come. It has been revealed to us by the prophet that God cannot come to the material world. So I just asked him a
A
plain
load
question,
of
why?
rubbish. That's such a load of rubbish. If God is almighty, he can do anything he wants, anything we can think of, and anything we can't think of.
This is
Simple.
it. This last point we can think of and we can't think of. He can do everything, and if it's possible for. So I told him this very simple point. If God is supposed to be God, then he should be able to do anything that he wants. And if he wants to come to the material world, who is you and me to block him from coming here? Who is any prophet to block him from coming here? He should be free. God should be free to do what he wants to do. And so essentially, this is one point which, when you read these verses, then you have this question in your mind that, oh, Krishna is saying that he is not in the material worlds. He says, and yet that is everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence, although I am the maintainer of all living entities, although I am everywhere, I am not part of this cosmic manifestation, for myself is the very source of creation. So Krishna is saying that I am the source of a creation, but I am not part of this cosmic manifestation, which means Krishna is saying that uh, you know, I don't proactively am in this cosmic manifestation. I'm in the spiritual world, but my energies are there in this cosmic manifestation. So, which means Krishna incarnates, becomes, there are three Purushas which we'll discuss maybe if we get time now, but if not, the next session. So Krishna is there in the material world, but he is at the same time not there in the material world. So when I was saying that Vedic knowledge is like, if someone is used to only about hearing about one thing, it becomes very difficult. But when you come to Vedic knowledge, you have to become a broad human being to actually understand subject matter deeply and properly. So here Krishna is saying the same thing. He is there in everything, At the same time, he's not there in everything. And he's going to explain how he's there in everything and how he's not going to be in everything. So, and 9.6 says that understand that as the mighty wind blowing everywhere rests always in the sky, all created beings rests in me. This is a very beautiful example. And Bhagavatam uses this example so much more. This example is, and Krishna also used this example again in another chapter. So Krishna is saying that the wind is blowing in the sky. So that means that wind, it actually rests in the sky. Similarly, all the living entities, they are in me actually. Another example Krishna is using is that, when the air is blowing, sometimes there is fragrance in the air. So what do people say? Oh, this is very fragrant environment. Actually, the air is not fragrant. The fragrance has mixed in the air. Air is just carrying the fragrance. Similarly, clouds are there in the sky. Well, clouds are there. They are not mixed with the sky. The sky is different and the cloud is different. But to a observer, it feels that the clouds are the sky. So Krishna uses this analogy so many times directly. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is used so many places. So the analogy is the viewer only sees what they want to see. They can't see beyond what they don't want to see. You have to be of a specific mindset to see beyond. But if you have made your mind that, no, I'm going to see only this, then you can't see beyond. So these are the two verses on creation, and then Krishna mentions about periodic creation and destruction. O son of Kunti, that then to the millennium, all material manifestations enter into my nature, and the beginning of another millennium, by my potency, I create them again. When Krishna says by my potency, Krishna means through his external energy, through Brahma, who is the secondary creator. And then the whole cosmic manifestation, cosmic order is under me. Under my will, it is automatically manifested again and again. And under my will, it is annihilated at the end. So it is the will of the Lord. Everything happens through the energies and just through the will of the Lord. Krishna only desires and everything happens. So this is how Krishna is in the material world, but at the same time, he's not in the material. He's aloof from material. He's independent. He's not dependent on the material world. Krishna doesn't have to do anything. Nothing binds Krishna. Krishna says that, oh Dhananjay, all this work cannot bind me. I'm ever detached from all the material activities, seated as though neutral. So all this creation of the material world, we might say, oh Krishna, if you destroy the material world, I would die, my grandmother would die, my father would die, my children would die. What will happen? Please, please, please don't destroy this material world. No, Krishna is neutral, but it's time for material world's destruction. It will get destroyed. It's time for its creation. It will get created. So it doesn't mean that Krishna has no engagement. Krishna has engagement in the spiritual world. His energies are doing this creation, maintenance, and destruction process. He is involved in his eternal blissful spiritual activities, but he has nothing to do with the material activities. Anything that is happening in the material creation, he has got nothing to do with that. Example is word uses udasinavat. Udasinavat means neutral. He is udasina, neutral to all the creation, maintenance, and destruction, just like a judge is neutral. When you go to a judge, one place he will give a judgment for killing someone, one place they will give a judgment for, but judge remains unaffected from the cases that they have to judge on. So like that, Krishna is neutral. He is not he is then supreme director. And this is also very, very famous verse I by hearted, and I always remember, Maya Adhyakshena Prakriti Suyate Sa Characharam Hetu Nanina Kaunteya Jagat Vipari Vartate. So this Jagat Vipari Vartate, this universe is created and annihilated by me, Hetu Nanina Kaunteya, that under my direction this whole thing is moving. Maya Adhyakshena Prakriti. My means my, Adhyakshena, I am doing the Adhyakshata, which means I am doing the direction of this whole Prakriti, of this whole material manifestation. So Krishna is a director of this whole material creation. Just as you have a director in the film, they direct what will happen, who will be the hero, what will they do, what will they say. So Krishna is directing this material creation. And so all moving and non-moving entities are created. So now there is a very, very important concept, and we have only 10 minutes. So I don't know if I will be able to cover this concept or not. But if you don't get this concept, You will be very, very confused human being in devotional life, specifically when reading philosophy. You will always be confused. Hmm? You will say, oh, so Krishna is God, Vishnu is God, Rama is also God, Narayan is also Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hmm. But someone said Rama is incarnation, but some people say Krishna is avatar of Vishnu. I don't understand, because all of these confusions have been created for us by the modern day material understanding of the spiritual life. So these three concepts are critically important. We don't understand this, we won't understand Krishna. We can't understand Krishna. Huh? So incarnations, which is avatar, amsha, which means portion, and expansions, which means vistar. Hmm? Um, do you want to go through this concept now? You are in full in energy. You want to know about this, or you want to do this in next session? We have 10
Briefly,
minutes.
I'm briefly interested
Yeah,
for a
me
brief
too.
version.
Me too. I want to know.
Oh, okay, okay. And I'll tell you, 99% of the people in Krishna consciousness are always confused about these topics. Even myself, I was confused on these topics until unless almost like 3 4 years being in Krishna consciousness. I went to one yatra, and then suddenly there one sannyasi was giving a class, and when that sannyasi gave a class, these concepts started to make some sense. So
Yeah, similar things happen to me, but it's still hard to keep up here. And yeah, I've heard about it before. I've inquired about it before, so I'm
yeah,
definitely interested.
yeah,
Something comes direct from God, and I think that's expansion is a direct something,
yes.
and the incarnation is something slightly different, and the portion I'm lost.
Yes, yes, exactly. So something uh, which comes directly from Krishna, as in Krishna becoming second Krishna, hmm, is called expansion in English, and in Sanskrit is called Vistar. Actually, when you read Sanskrit, there is also called Swa Amsha. Swa Amsha means the portion of the self. But as soon as you use the word portion, portion means does not mean complete, it means part, right? So the confusion comes. But
What
because
about plenary portion? Sorry,
yes, wonderful, wonderful. Plenary portion still means portion, right? Portion means not the full but the part. But the point is, if something is someone or something is supreme personality or supreme or someone is God, then the portion is also inexhaustible and complete. The first verse of the science, the first verse of Ishopanishad, that everything that comes from the complete is fully complete. So portion, when Krishna expands himself, expands, I'm using the word, then it's called Vistar. Now, the way he expands, his mood may be different and his appearance may be different. So he can expand himself, and when he expands, his mood and appearance may be different, or he can expand himself and his mood and appearance is his appearance is the same, but his mood is different. So Krishna is Krishna. So Krishna in Vrindavan is different to Krishna outside Vrindavan. Like Krishna in Mathura, Krishna in Kurukshetra, they are all different Krishnas because the mood of Krishna changes. It is said Krishna never puts even 1 feet outside Vrindavan. Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, but we read in the pastime of Krishna that Krishna left Gopis and Mother Yashoda and went to Dwarka, and then went to Mathura and all those places. So in reality, Krishna expands himself. Just like when Krishna would see his 16,000 queens, he would expand himself. And when he would expand himself, he would be exactly the same Krishna, and he would slightly change his mood according to mood of the queens. So this vistar or this expansion of Krishna is called Swa Amsha Vistar. Swa Amsha means portion of the portion of the self, but in different moods. Hmm? But take Lord Balram. Lord Balram is Krishna himself, but his mood has also changed and his appearance also changed. Krishna is black, Balramji is white. So these are expansions. So then Sankarshan, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, these are all expansions, which means, and these are therefore called Swa Amshas, or the direct portions of the Lord, because actually they are actually changing in the mood and their appearance.
Would
So there
another
is
word
Swa.
also be, sorry, would another word also be first expansion?
Yeah,
Or am I getting, yeah?
Balramji is the first expansion of Krishna, but yeah, Balramji is like to explain to us, because when you say first and second, you introduce the concept of time. First
Okay.
means something happened before, but so for us to understand, Krishna is the original personality and his first expansion is Balram. But actually, when Krishna was there, maybe Krishna first expanded into Srimati Radharani, maybe Krishna then expanded into gopis. So that that is beyond conception of time. But we take the
Okay.
words of acharyas because we are limited in our capacity. The acharyas have explained it very simply, that first expansion of Krishna is Balram. Whenever Krishna came into existence, the first expansion was Balram. And Balramji was a servant personality of God and started to serve Krishna immediately. And we are all servants of Balramji, servants of the servants of the servants of Lord Balram. So that is the first expansion of Krishna, which is Lord Balram. And then the second level of expansion is 4 expansions. And these are all Swa Amsha expansions, but they have a different mood and they have a different appearance, which is Sankarsha, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, and Vasudev. And from Sankarshan comes Lord Narayan. And from and these are all expansions, okay? From Narayan comes again Chaturvyuha expansion, Sankarsha, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, and Vasudev. And then from the second Sankarshan comes Mahavishnu. Now this Mahavishnu onwards, these are all incarnations or avatars. So now their purpose is different now. And avatar is usually means when someone enters into the material world. Till the time they are expanding in the spiritual world, they are called expansions. As soon as they come into the material world, we will use the word as avatar, because avatar means to come down. The literal meaning is to come down. What is down? In spiritual world, there is nothing down. The down is only one place, which is material world, which is not so best place. So then when Krishna comes down, then that means avatarit, something which has come from above to below. That is what the word avatarit is, and from that comes word avatar. So those are called incarnations. When Krishna comes down, and Krishna, when he comes down, he will come through this channel of Mahavishnu. You know, I will hopefully try and see if I can get a like a diagram and explain Krishna, Balram, 4 levels of Chaturvyu expansions, Lord Narayan, then again 4 levels of expansions of Krishna, and then from Sankarshan comes Mahavishnu, and then Mahavishnu glances over the material nature. And when Mahavishnu glances over the material nature, then the whole material nature starts to come into existence. So, any questions so far? Incarnations, meaning avatar. Avatar means someone which comes from above to down. That's why it's called incarnation, avtarit. And these incarnations, they are portions, plenary portions of the original Supreme Lord. Sometimes they are not just portions, they are portions of the portions.
I've heard about that. Are they also always in material nature or not necessarily?
No, they have their own spiritual world also.
Okay.
Every single
Okay.
incarnation will have their own spiritual world, meaning they will have their own location in the spiritual world.
Okay.
And their worshippers will go to their planets in the spiritual world. So anything that comes from the Lord, any incarnation that comes from the Lord will have its own spiritual world. Um, so incarnations, and so when they say they incarnated, which means from the spiritual world they came down in that form, like Lord Ram. So Lord Ram in Bhagavatam, he is referred to as Amsha Amshena, meaning portion of the portion. But in another place, it is mentioned that Lord Ram is the expansion of Krishna, and he is basically Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, when I first came to Krishna consciousness, I always liked Lord Ram. But the orator, the storyteller, the Bhagavad Gita presenter, he said Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. And I was like, I took offense. I said, oh, why these people are making distinction? God is one. Everything is one. There are no many personalities. God is just one. And that God is Lord Ram. So I was thinking everything is mixed. So I told him, why are you saying Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead? Why not Ram? Because I loved Lord Ram. So, he was very kind to explain to me that, you can take one candle and from one candle you can light another candle. So both the candles will give equal light and heat, right? But the original candle remains the original candle. So he explained to me that Lord Ram is also supreme personality of Godhead, but Krishna is the source of all the incarnations and all the expansions. So Krishna is actually the supreme personality of Godhead. So without even denigrating any incarnations, he gave me proper science that look, all candles are equally powerful. Lord Narayan, Lord Narsimha, Lord Ramchandra, all the Vishnu. So all of these expansions, portions, and incarnations, they are all called Vishnu Tattvas. They are all called Vishnu Tattvas. Okay. That's why I didn't wanted to get into this topic at the fag end of the session. But I think this is the most
Yeah,
complex thing
someone
to
keeps
understand.
moaning at me about the tattvas, and I said, "Oh, that's so complicated." I said, "I'm sure we'll get to it, but not now." He keeps pushing me. Yeah, but if you don't understand the Vishnu tattvas and this tattva and that tattva, and I'm thinking, "Oh my
I
goodness."
think there is also a limitation in the language English, which doesn't
Hmm.
represent the Sanskrit words properly or translated.
Correct.
It
Correct.
it complicates the understanding a lot more for us.
Could be, could be.
Yes. Yeah. That's why if you see what I'm doing is wherever I want you to understand Sanskrit, I am actually putting the Sanskrit alongside the English because am a native English learner and I also have learned Hindi and Sanskrit. So essentially, I want my students to understand when they read and what background they are coming from, because you come from Western background, so English is a natural language. So that's why I always create this English and Sanskrit next to each other. But you are right, Bidisha Mataji, not all Sanskrit words have an
Mm.
equivalent English word. Like
No,
word
there are
Shraddha
not.
doesn't have an equivalent English,
No, no.
doesn't exist. How
Because I
can you
also studied Hindi
uh,
for 8 years in my because I studied in India, but I
yes,
was
me
not
too.
fortunate to study Sanskrit. But um, because you know the Hindi
Hindi
alphabet, it
words.
helps and
Yes,
certain meanings. And my mother tongue is Bengali, so I there are certain words which coincides with Hindi and
Sanskrit.
Sanskrit. So
Actually,
certain words are a little bit easier to understand, even though
correct.
I might not have an equivalent English word to express.
Hmm. Yeah, Mataji, if you were born in India, therefore you easily understand Sanskrit. Maybe you are a Marathi, maybe you are a Hindi, maybe you are a Bengali, Gujarati, Kannad, Malayali, until unless you are Tamil. All other languages in India, they all have roots in Sanskrit and they all have huge vocabulary which is directly correlating to Sanskrit.
Hmm.
So the problem is really it comes when someone doesn't explain to you English for it. That's why my hardest stress is even actually a lot of the Indians, they are Westerners. It's a misnomer that India is Indian.
No,
Most of the people in India are actually Westerners. We wear shoes, we wear pants, trousers. We shy wearing dhoti kurta. I never wore dhoti kurta. I was never explained. Even our thought process is like Westerners.
yeah.
That's what British succeeded in creating.
Yeah,
Hats off to
I
them.
cannot write Bengali. I
I
cannot
see.
read all the words Bengali, and that's my mother tongue. Hindi, I
Hmm.
wouldn't say because I only read 8 years. Because you're not
Hmm.
required when you're in a
Not required.
faith-based school, like whether you're in a Protestant school or Catholic school, the emphasis is totally on English, and
On
we
English.
history of English literature. We are reading
Exactly.
Merchant of Venice, or all these things. So naturally,
Yes.
even though I
Climate of Savannah. Climate of
yeah,
Savannah is what.
so it becomes little bit more complicated because we don't have the right word in English for that to
English.
express the full
Exactly.
meaning of that word.
Yeah, this is the beauty of Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita and
Yeah.
Bhagavatam and all the scriptures he's written. Is for the first time, Manji, in life, you will see a very direct equivalence of English words with Sanskrit words. Although you might not find everything, but you will find like 90% direct correlation. For most important Sanskrit terms that we actually need for progressing in devotional life.
Yeah.
So, therefore, I love reading the breakdown. When Prabhupada writes a verse in Sanskrit, then he gives word to word breakdown and then
Yes.
he translates in English. So, whenever I read any verse, I read very slowly and I read word to word breakdown and I ponder, I stop, I ponder on them, I reflect on them, and then I go and read the translation.
Yes.
Therefore, you will see that here also, when I'm explaining, I'll always put Sanskrit, I'll put some English because they have impact. The
Yeah.
words have impact. Sanskrit is a language of the soul,
Mm.
and English is the language of the mind and intelligence that we have been given by this material world. But Sanskrit, even if you don't understand anything, but you hear it, only by hearing it, you're
Mm.
directly speaking to the soul and the super soul. That's why there is so much power in recitation of the shlokas. I'm continuously, repeatedly stressing, memorize it, memorize it, memorize it, memorize the shlokas. And that's why I keep using Sanskrit terms, and I immediately telling Sanskrit, I tell the English, because by English you will understand, and something that you will understand is easier to remember.
Yes. It helps us to remember. And
It helps you to remember.
repetition helps us to remember as well.
That's it. Understanding and repetition, they both help you remember. So therefore, Sanskrit, very, very important. Even though your mind and intelligence may not, this the soul is speaking with it. Super soul is speaking with it. So now there are three Purusha incarnations, which we'll go in next session. But I'm just wanting to explain that there are incarnations, there are expansions. So the two main categories are incarnations and expansions. And the portion, the word amsha, is used in reference to both the incarnations and expansions. So sometimes you will hear the word as amsha for an incarnation. Sometimes you will hear it for an expansion, and you will become completely confused. So did you say amsha means incarnation, but now you're saying amsha as an expansion? No, actually the word is interchangeably used for both of them. um, and so you have to first see, when the word amsha is used, what is the type of amsha, because amshas have different type. There are kala amsha, which means like containing certain number of qualities, out of say total 64 qualities. If someone is born with 45 or 48, a number of those qualities, then they are amsha, which means portion, but they are specific type of a portion, kalaha amsha, or another type of an amsha, or sometimes amsha of an amsha, portion of a portion. So we'll speak. So these Purusha incarnations we'll speak in the next session. But mainly, this people misunderstand Krishna as an ordinary human beings or amsha of the three Purushas. That's what these commentators want to do. They want to prove Krishna either as a human being, and if they don't tell Krishna as a human, then they will say, "Oh, Krishna, yeah, he was an incarnation or he was an amsha of the three Purushas." You in India, this conception is very common. Krishna is, oh, Vishnu incarnates as Krishna. For a lot of my time, I would also think like, oh, Krishna is actually Vishnu. He's coming from Vishnu. So Krishna is less, Vishnu is the highest. And some people say, Lord Narayan is the highest, and from Lord Narayan comes Vishnu, and from Vishnu comes Krishna. These are all common conceptions in India. And no, because no one actually understands them in these deeper details. So now in next session we'll go into this different types of worshippers of Krishna, of which the very first category is the fools, which I think we've already gone through this category in the previous session. The four types of people who don't take into the Krishna consciousness. In here there are fools. They think that when I descend in the human form, they deride me. They do not know my transcendental nature as the supreme Lord and proprietor of all that be. So what happens to such fools? They are baffled in their hopes of attaining the mukti. They're baffled
Was
in their
one of
fruitive
them
activities. Hmm?
was one of them a Mudha? Mudha something?
Mudha,
Yeah.
fools. Yeah. So what happens with these? They are all baffled in their activities, whether they are doing karma, yoga, they become baffled in their karma activities. If they're practicing jnana yoga, then they're baffled in their knowledge for jnana, liberation, and they're all deluded by maya and lost, and they have lost their discriminating power by the sin of rejecting Krishna as he is, as the supreme personality of Godhead. Hmm? They are attracted by demonic and atheistic views, having taken shelter of the illusory material energy. So, those four categories: atheists, and there were demons, and then there were fools, and then there was less intelligent class of men, basically. So Krishna is saying that all their activities, all their attempts in perfection, they are all trying to perfect themselves. Some is trying to become perfect in karma, some is trying to perfect in jnana. Krishna is saying all their efforts are in vain because they don't understand Krishna. So that is the category of
Much
fools.
easier to remember in English. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Demons, atheist, and then Maya Aprita
Fools.
Jnana, people whose
Voidist,
knowledge is stolen, which is erudite scholars and everything. Vidisha Mataji, you said something?
voidist,
Yes, voidists,
Oh, yeah, and atheists.
atheists. Voidists are atheists, basically. So, and then fools. That's the four categories. And that's it. That's sufficient if you remember it in English. Atheists, fools, I also forgot remaining two categories.
Less intelligent
Yeah,
atheists
less
or
intelligent.
voidists.
Maya Pratagyana. Okay, so here we will stop, and we will come back. We'll resume from verse 13 onwards. Thank you so much for your attentive hearing. I was 10 minutes delayed to the class, so I've taken luxury of taking you 10 minutes over time. My sincere apologies for the delay. And hopefully I'll see you in the next session. And hopefully, Vidisha Mataji, next session I'll ask you the questions and hopefully you'll not read from your notes.
I
Hare
will.
Krishna.
Yes,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Prabhuji,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna,
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo
Vaishnavebhyo
namaha.
namo namaha. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Hare Bol. Hare Bol.